Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 81 Jinling, Yi Family. Wang Dakan didn't even look back and responded angrily. He is very fast. Disappeared directly at the classroom door. After seeing this scene, Huang Dongdong sighed softly. Regardless of the stupid guy's IQ, just in terms of execution ability, there is absolutely nothing to say. Speaking of which, I was expecting the stupid big guy to look like when he came back with a hairless head. Thinking of this, Huang Dongdong chuckled. But just when Huang Dongdong was gloating about his misfortune, suddenly, someone in the class stood up. Hey, why have I been feeling the urge to urinate lately and can't hold it in? I really need to stop. The student said to himself and walked slowly to the door. The next second after leaving the classroom, this classmate immediately started running, leaving in exactly the same direction as Wang Dakan. After this classmate left, another classmate stood up. As he walked, he touched his hair and said to himself, my hair has grown too. It's time for Hudelu to give me a fashionable hairstyle. Similarly, the next second he left the classroom, he ran directly in the direction of Wang Dakan. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, even the students in the entire class. Everyone rushed out of the classroom and rushed after Wang Dakan. Even the door frame was squeezed and slightly deformed. In an instant, the originally noisy classroom. Suddenly, only Huang Dongdong and Lan Moyan were left. What did they have done? Huang Dongdong was a little dull. Lan Moyan still spoke concisely and to the point. What do you think? It's not that bad. Huang Dongdong murmured to himself. The expression on his face was uglier than crying. I just wanted to deceive Wang Dakan. Lan Moyan looked at her nominal junior brother with a smile. You're going to be in trouble. Huang Dongdong trembled when he heard Lan Moyan's words. In just one sentence, the whole class got rid of their baldness. After Teacher Yi comes back, how should I explain to Teacher Yi? At this moment, Yi ran. How could he care about the fact that he was about to take charge of the Shaolin Temple? He was now walking quickly on his way to the principal's office. While polishing the script over and over again. Principal, this has really affected me a lot. Yi Ran shook his head. It's not good, it's too simple, it's not miserable enough, and the old man doesn't resonate with it. Principal, my soul has been greatly impacted by this incident, and it has made my skills go a little crazy. Yi Ran shook his head again. No, it's miserable and emotionless. The old man may not like it. Principal, think about it carefully. I am willing to sacrifice my life and blood for the school, but who has ever been stabbed in the middle by one of my own people and died? In the principal's office, Bai Shu looked at the glowing magic ball in front of him. His expression is a little complicated. Because inside this magic ball, it was the scene of Yi Ran practicing his speaking skills and walking towards the office. Bai Shu blew his beard angrily. It's only been a few days. Brat, are you here to hit the autumn wind again? However, Bai Shu also knew that he was somewhat wrong. After all, two extraordinary people can sneak into the same class and pretend to be teachers and students. How could it be possible without him nodding in vain at Gaowu Academy in the Magic City? So there is always a wrongdoer and a debtor, so Yi Ran really has nothing wrong with him. When he thought of this, Bai Shu rubbed his temples helplessly. What kind of nonsense is this? If you have time, you should go to the education department and the military department to ask for mental damage compensation. But now, it's better to hide in advance. It just so happened that my previous idea of a space magic weapon had not yet been completed. Then go to the forge room. Bai Shu has extremely strong mobility. Just snap his fingers lightly. Disappeared in place. Yi Ran came to the door of the principal's office. Adjust your breathing, he thought for a moment. He deliberately ruffled his hair, and his whole expression looked as if he had been hit and depressed. Life is like a play, it all depends on acting skills. Bang, 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 bang. After Yi Ran knocked on the door 3 or 4 times in a row, a wave of ripples began to appear above the door of the principal's office. A huge turtle head stretched out from the void. This turtle's head is all black, glowing under the sunlight. This turtle is very humane and looked at Yi Ran in front of him impatiently. Actually uttering human words. Knock, 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 he went out and ran wild somewhere else. Yi Ran looked at the turtle's head sticking out of the void. I'm a little surprised inside. Because the system has already listed this old bastard's information. Duobao. Shang, 10,002 years old. Diamond. Void black turtle S level. Innate magical power. The power of space. Advantages. Top space law affinity, top escape ability, ignores any restrictions, top treasure exploration ability. Disadvantages. Not good at fighting, doesn't like to practice, likes to sleep, obsessed with ancient monastic history, likes to listen to flattery, suffers unbearable pain from void barnacles attached to the turtle shell. Optimization suggestions. Good guy. S level talent, more than 10,000 years. Only diamond level. This bastard of a relationship really doesn't practice anything at all, he just relies on spending time to gain experience. And what's the flaw in being obsessed with ancient monastic legends? Although there are many shortcomings. But the advantages and attributes of this bastard. Looking at the advantages and attributes of the void black turtle, Yi Ran's eyes were already shining. What a perfect treasure hunting tool. With this precious monster, why should I ask the principal for mental damages? Could it be that the principal knew in advance that he was coming, so this is the compensation the principal gave himself? It is better to teach people to fish than to teach them how to fish. Principal, you are so kind. Thinking of this, the corners of Yi Ran's mouth raised slightly. This is the void turtle called Duobao. Looking at Yi Ran's smile, Wei Wei felt furious and was about to turn around and leave on the spot. As a result, before he could cancel the ripples in the void, suddenly a voice came from behind. Fellow Taoist, please stay. Jinling. In the dark and simple ancestral hall, a middle-aged man was sitting on the Taotie chair, closing his eyes and meditating. This person is the current head of the Yi family. That is, Yi Ran's father, Yi Tiancheng. Suddenly, an ink-colored pattern appeared on the floor of the ancestral hall. From the texture, a figure emerged. The figure is solid, it is an old man. Yi Tiancheng looked up at the old man and asked, "Fourth uncle, where are the three elders?" There was a wry smile on the corner of the old man's mouth. "Master, the third child has deceived us all. He ran away before you put him under house arrest." Then, he handed a letter to Yi Tiancheng. This is a letter he left behind before he left home. Yi Tiancheng remained silent and opened the letter silently. The writing on it is like dragons and phoenixes. "Brother, you are too cowardly. You say every day that you should hide your capabilities and bide your time and don't do anything. Now people are ready to take our Yaoer's life. You are still preaching. Do you really expect outsiders? You won't save Yaoer. I'm going to save you. Can't write anymore, turn to the back." Yi Tiancheng looked at the letter with a frosty face and turned the paper over. "You can do whatever you want. How can you be the head of the house without any opinion? If you don't know how to be the head of the house, just give it to me when I come back." This moment, Yi Tiancheng's veins popped out, and the letter was crushed to pieces. Those who can read this probably have a good impression of this book. It is indeed a bit boring to write a book alone. If you don't mind it, let's discuss and exchange it together. Maybe there are some good ideas that I can incorporate into it. I love you. Chapter 82 Fellow Taoist, you have great luck. Master, please don't be impatient. The third child has a bad temper. The old man on the side quickly comforted him. He didn't need to think twice to know that the third child didn't hold his shit in the letter at all. "I'm fine." Yi Tiancheng's expression remained as usual, but looking at the broken floor under his feet, it seemed that it was not as easy as he said. "Master, the third child is also in the first echelon among diamonds. With him here, I think I have a guarantee." The old man continued to comfort the master. Yi Tiancheng shook his head. Things are a little more complicated than expected. As Yi Tiancheng spoke, he twisted the broken letter paper with his fingers. Seems to be thinking about something. Then, Yi Tiancheng seemed to have made up his mind and said, "Inform the young man. He will need to tell the truth when the time comes." After hearing this, the old man felt a slight shiver in his heart. "Master, are you going to activate this line?" Yi Tiancheng nodded, with deep eyes. "Plans can't keep up with changes. That traitor is much more capable than I thought. I heard the head of the family say this." The old man also looked a little solemn. "Master, I'll do it right away." After saying that, the old man's figure turned black again and disappeared into the magic circle. The hall fell into silence once again. Yi Tiancheng sat upright on the Grand Master's chair, his eyes sparkling. "A python swallows a dragon, it won't happen soon. Magic City Gaowu Academy. At the door of the principal's office, The void black turtle, who was stared at by Yi Ran, felt a little hairy. After Yi Ran said, "Fellow Taoist, please stay." Suddenly he stopped. Under that bastard's head, it actually stretched out two thick turtle legs. He bowed his hands in a decent manner. "Dare to ask my friend, why did you stop Pindao?" I heard the void black turtle speak in such an ancient manner. The corners of Yi Ran's mouth raised slightly. The system sincerely does not deceive me. This bastard is actually obsessed with ancient monastic legends. This hobby is truly unique. Yi Ran also followed the appearance of the void black turtle and cupped his hands. I'm really being rude, but I saw that Taoist friend's whole body was filled with rays of light and he looked extraordinary. He is a tortoise with great luck. I wanted to admire your Taoist friend's grace, so I just blurted out. After hearing what Yi Ran said, the void black turtle was elated upon hearing this. Seeing Yi Ran's expression became much kinder, he humbly raised his tortoise paws. Fellow Taoist, this is ridiculous. Pindao is just one of the billions of innate beings, and there is no great luck. Yi Ran waved his hand. Fellow Taoists, don't belittle yourself. You are poor in Taoism and are good at reading fortune. When I look at the faces of my Taoist friends, I see that they are plump in heaven. Their faces are like crown jewels, their noses are like hanging gall bladders, their faces are radiant, and their aura is majestic. They are absolutely the things in the pond. Come to think of it, fellow Taoists' heels are extraordinary. As he spoke, Yi Ran pretended to count with his fingers. He looked at his fingers with slight surprise, and then looked at the void black turtle in surprise. Fellow Taoist, could it be that your name is Duobao? The void black turtle's mung bean-sized eyes widened. Then he nodded seriously and blurted out, Fellow Taoist, how do you know? How do I know? I know it from the system. Of course, this is what Yi Ran thinks in his heart, and of course he cannot say it openly. After Yi Ran heard the words of the void black turtle, he suddenly realized and put away his fingers. No wonder, no wonder. This sentence directly aroused the curiosity of the void black turtle. Fellow Taoist, what is this calculation? Yi Ran looked at the void black turtle and was about to say something, but he stopped it when he reached his lips. He shook his head helplessly. The secret must not be revealed. Yi Ran's 2 or 3 pulls directly caused the void black turtle to turn its mouth upwards. At this time, the void black turtle was extremely worried. Fellow Taoist, why not? Yi Ran looked at the void black turtle with some embarrassment. Fellow Taoist, you are blessed with great luck. If I forcefully reveal the secret, I may be punished by God and hurt my blood. After hearing this, the void black turtle blurted out, It's easy to say, fellow Taoist, it's easy to say. As he said that, ripples in the void appeared again in front of the void black turtle. A bloody lotus appeared directly. The vitality above the lotus was so rich that Yi Ran felt his blood gushing out after taking a sip. This is a 3,000-year quality essence and blood lotus. It will definitely replenish your chi and blood, fellow Taoist. Void black turtle introduced, with an anxious expression on his face as he waited for Yi Ran to tell him about his secret. Yi Ran took the blood lotus flower, feeling the surging vitality on the essence and blood lotus. Shocked inside, big dog owner, give away 3,000 years of essence and blood lotus as soon as you say so. I heard that this thing is more than enough to replenish the vitality and blood of an extraordinary person. This essence and blood lotus alone is not inferior to the energy crystal core that Principal Bai Shu gave him before when sold on the black market. Yi Ran hurriedly put away the essence and blood lotus and said with a slight embarrassment. Since my fellow Taoist wants to hear it so much, then I will sacrifice my life to accompany you. Saying, Yi Ran said eloquently, I don't know if my Taoist friends know that in the ancient times of cultivating immortals, the great disciple of Tongtian cult, Taoist Duobao. Master Tongtian, Taoist Duobao. When the void black turtle heard this word, his breathing became a little rapid. MD, it sounds very cool. And the name is the same as mine. Yi Ran looked at the void black turtle and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. There is indeed an ancient era of cultivating immortals in this world, but the history is too long. The real history of the capital has long been sunk in the long river of history. Most of the current descriptions of the age of cultivating immortals come from everyone's guesses and ideas based on the ruins. No one can tell whether it is true or false. There are also quite a few ghost novels here that describe the ancient era of cultivating immortals. It's just that in this world where everything is low grade and only people with high cultivation. How can these ghost novels be as prosperous as Yi Ran's novels from his previous life? What Yi Ran brought to the Void Black Turtle was a more exciting new version of the ship. Vulgar foreign turtles, please accept the influence of Hongwangliu. Yi Ran said eloquently. It is also said that in the ancient times of chaos and ignorance, a generation of great gods Pangu created the world. From then on, the heaven and the earth were divided into two, and the world was first formed. Yi Ran then told the Void Black Turtle the general structure of the prehistoric era. It has to be said that the reason why Hongwangliu can become a genre is it does have its unique and attractive features. Moreover, the world view, progress, and even the degree of logical self-consistency in the prehistoric story. It has already been perfected by millions of ancient authors. This Void Black Turtle has never eaten such fine chaff since he was a child. The ancient world in Yi Ran's mouth directly turned this Void Black Turtle into a fool. In the Zishao Palace, Taoist ancestor Hongjun preached and evolved the saints of heaven and earth. Among them, the leader of Tongtian's sect realized the oneness that escaped between heaven and earth and became a saint of heaven. He founded the Jia sect in Bio Palace with the purpose of intercepting the glimmer of life. Zhejiao teaches without distinction and recruits many disciples. During its most powerful period, it was known as the 10,000 immortals coming to the DPRK. Among these Zhejiao disciples, there are naturally some who are famous. One of the most famous ones is the eldest disciple of Tongtian cult master. Yi Ran paused for a moment when he said this. He glanced at the Void Black Turtle and said calmly. The name is Taoist Duobao. Chapter 83 Goodbye, Lao Deng. After Yi Ran finished talking about the specific world structure and the origin of Duobao Taoist, the Void Black Turtle was breathing rapidly, and the vibrations of the ripples in the void were undulating a lot. The Taoist treasure hunter is good at hunting for treasures and has an extremely keen sense of treasures. Fellow Taoist, you must be the same, right? Listening to Yi Ran's words, the Void Black Turtle nodded in disbelief. Taoist Duobao is not only sensitive to treasures, he is also extremely good at breaking restrictions. I think Taoist fellow Taoist, I am afraid he will give in too much. Yi Ran looked at the turtle's head exposed in the void and admired. The Void Black Turtle was distraught after hearing this. Shouldn't. Before the Void Black Turtle could finish thinking, Yi Ran continued in a very emotional tone. Did you also notice something, fellow Taoist? Duobao, what a wonderful coincidence. They are all good at breaking restrictions due to their innate sense of treasures. Tisk tisk. Apart from reincarnation, I really can't think of any other reason. This sentence directly penetrated the heart of the Void Black Turtle. I, Duobao, am the reincarnation of an ancient power. The Void Black Turtle just giggled like this, feeling so good for a long time that he didn't even recover. Yi Ran looked at the expression of the Void Black Turtle, nodding silently. The heat is almost done. It's time to simmer down the fire. Yi Ran looked at his watch with regret. Hey, it was so enjoyable to sit and talk with fellow Taoists. I forgot the time for a while. Since the principal is not here, I won't bother you anymore. It's a pity that I can't work with people who have great fortune, and I can't witness the heroic return of Taoist Duobao to the world. It's really a regret in life. That's all, Toki Yi. Life. Saying. Yi Ran turned around gracefully. Get ready to leave. 3, 2, 1. Yi Ran thought silently in his heart. Fellow Taoist, please stay. The voice of the Void Black Turtle came from behind Yi Ran. The corners of Yi Ran's mouth raised slightly, but he turned around and asked the Void Black Turtle in confusion. Fellow Taoist, what else can I do? The Void Black Turtle hesitated for a long time, and then said. Fellow Taoist, what you said, is all this true? Yi Ran looked at the Void Black Turtle with a smile. Do you think someone can make up such a story in such a short time? After listening to Yi Ran's words, the Void Black Turtle rolled his green bean-sized eyes and thought about it. Indeed, who could weave such a magnificent and self-consistent story in such a short time? Moreover, how could he see his own strengths and abilities at a glance? When he thought of this, the Void Black Turtle's breathing quickened. So, I am really the reincarnation of Taoist Duobao? Yi Ran said calmly. Yes or no, fellow Taoist, you have made your own decision in your heart, understand your heart, everything has its own way, and everything is guided by destiny. What Yi Ran said was mysterious and mysterious. But this Void Black Turtle just wants to do this. He thought silently. Their names are all called Duobao. They all have the ability to find treasures. They are all good at breaking space restrictions. And there are many treasures hidden in them. A similar place is called a coincidence. If so many coincidences come together, it is no longer a coincidence. That's called destiny. For a moment, the void black turtle's eyes changed when he looked at Yiran. Since everything is destiny, so today this kid comes to see Bai Shu. I didn't meet Bai Shu, but I met myself. Isn't it a kind of destiny? Could this be fate guiding me to understand my past life? Could it be that the boy in front of him is his guide in this life? Thinking of this, the void black turtle stretched its neck in excitement. Now reject destiny. Isn't it obvious that he is going against his own destiny? A turtle who goes against fate cannot have a good ending. No, you must follow the boy in front of you closely, and you must not let down the gift of fate. Suddenly he remembered what Bai Shu told him before. You can't leave here until you find your own path. But screw that. The void black turtle breathed rapidly and silently made up his mind. Bai Shu, today I, Duobao, have found my own way. The void black turtle's eyes were firm and he asked Yiran hastily. Fellow Taoist, it is God's destiny for me to meet you. If I casually ruin the fate of God, it is against heaven and disrespectful. Do you think you are right? Yiran looked at the void black turtle with a smile and nodded. The void black turtle walked out of the void ripples directly and said to Yiran. From today on, fellow Taoist, how about we go together? Yiran looked at the void black turtle. Talking to a smart turtle saves trouble, and you don't even need to persuade yourself. I figured out all the reasons myself. Perfect juice collection. The void black turtle said directly and decisively. Wait for me, I'll leave a message to Lao Deng and take care of it. By the way, I don't know your Taoist friend's surname. Yiran looked at the void black turtle with a smile. My surname is Yi, and the single character is Ran. The void mysterious turtle nodded. Fellow Taoist, please wait for a moment. I'll be back soon. After saying that, the void black turtle returned to the principal's office. Picked up the principal's orb. It seems to be recording. Lao Deng, every time Pindao tells you legends from ancient times, you don't like to hear them, and you always say that there is a generation gap between Pindao and you. Huh, today Pindao Duobao has found a soulmate. Lao Deng, you said before that Pindao can leave if he finds the target of Wusheng. Now Pindao has found it. Starting from today, Taoist Pindao Duobao will practice together with little friend Yiran to rebuild the glory of Zhejiao. By the way, Lao Deng, at least 80% of your collection was found for you by me. We have agreed that if we separate, half of it will belong to me, so I will take it away. Bye, Lao Deng. After saying that, the void black turtle turned off the ball with satisfaction and placed it on Bai Shu's table. Subsequently, the void black turtle walked directly to Bai Shu's bookshelf. Ignoring the void restrictions set by Bai Shu, he swaggered towards the bookshelf and walked in. There were layers of void ripples on the bookshelf. The void black turtle's entire body sank directly into another space. In this space, all of them are Bai Shu's collection. All kinds of top-notch materials, treasures, and magical tools are listed in mountains. A dazzling array. The void black turtle looked around. The power of space began to appear on the turtle shell on its back. Each turtle shell piece is opened like a lid. The treasures and materials flew into the holes in the turtle shell one after another. Moment. The collection here is less than half. Only then did the void black turtle put away his magical powers. Satisfied, he left the empty space. Above the office door, ripples appeared again. The void black turtle walked out leisurely. Seeing this, Yiran cupped his hands. Taoist Duobao, has this been done? This sentence of Duobao Taoist accurately captured the void black turtle's flattery. He nodded proudly and cupped his hands. Okay, let's go, fellow Taoist. At this moment, the system sound suddenly sounded. Ding, it is detected that the host has completed the achievement task. Educated without classification, 1/1, and you will get an upgrade opportunity. Please select the upgrade item. Items are limited to attributes and props. Hearing this, Yiran was slightly startled. What an unexpected surprise. At this moment, Bai Shu had no idea what had happened in his office. Now Bai Shu, looking at the calm water-like furnace in front of me. Lost in thought. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 84. Bai Shu is hit by a double blow. Bai Shu looked at the furnace in front of him. This place no longer has the same hot and rolling appearance as before. The whole room didn't even feel any hot feeling. The molten flames in the furnace seemed to have been drained of energy. Burning quietly, not to mention surging, It is difficult to even raise a few bubbles. Bai Shu silently raised his hand, and a black hole in space instantly appeared above the furnace. A refined mithril ingot fell directly from the black hole, submerged in the furnace. After this, mithril iron fell into the furnace. It didn't start to turn red and then melt like usual. This time, the mithril ingot was thrown into the furnace like mud. It didn't trigger any reaction and just sank slowly. I can't even change the color. The strength of this flame. Not even as powerful as the ordinary forging room next door. Such a huge change. So much so that Bai Shu looked at the sign at the door again in confusion. It's a master-level forging room, right? Bai Shu looked at the magic circle above the furnace. At this time, the magic circle seemed to be almost exhausted. Above the formation, light flickered slightly. Just like a dying old man, if there is even the slightest trouble, he will give you up. Who did this? Originally, being chased by Yi Ran and asking for mental damage compensation was enough to make Bai Shu depressed. Come here now. He actually saw the extraordinary forging room that he regarded as a treasure. Being brought to this state by man's misfortune. For a time, Bai Shu now feels like someone is standing up and pedaling on a bicycle that he can't bear to use. Bai Shu, who is so angry that he can't get out of nowhere. He blew his beard out of habit. He gently snapped his fingers. Plop. Shang Yao, who was still sleeping soundly at the front desk, was directly transported to the extraordinary forging room. I fell down hard and squatted on my butt. Shang Yao touched his buttocks with a pained expression. Then, he tried to open his eyes that were squeezed by flesh and looked around. Okay, stop looking. Bai Shu's cold voice came. Only then did Shang Yaoqin notice Bai Shu standing next to the furnace. Shang Yaoqin jumped up in fright. He quickly patted his clothes. He bowed respectfully at 90 degrees, and his whole body looked like a huge whistle. Hello, school, principal. I am a staff member of the materials department, Shang Yaoqin. Shang Yaoqin was stammering when he spoke and was extremely nervous. No way, even though Bai Shu has a notoriously good temper. But that was also a real nation-killing transcendent. For ordinary people like them, it is a legendary existence. How can you not be nervous when you stand with a legend? Bai Shu waved his hand. Stop introducing. Tell me, who has used this forging room recently? Hearing this sentence, Shang Yaoqin's heart skipped a beat. The facial features are all crowded together in sadness. It can't be so unlucky. Huh. Seeing Shang Yaoqin not speaking, Bai Shu snorted questioningly. Shang Yaoqin was so frightened that he knelt on the ground. Principal. I was wrong. I privately lent the extraordinary forging room to a tutor in our school and his students. Tutor. Student. Hearing this, Bai Shu narrowed his eyes slightly. Seems to be thinking about names. I know the tutor of my own school. The blacksmiths who can use the furnace to this extent are all masters, and they have a sense of proportion in their actions. Except for some daredevils. Could it be that Huo Wen? It shouldn't be. Although that old boy is reckless, he is brave enough to take responsibility. If something goes wrong, he will definitely apologize and compensate for it as soon as possible. Bai Shu thought about it for a long time, but couldn't think of a suitable name. Slowly he said, Do you know the name of the tutor you rented? Shang Yaoqin looked at Bai Shu with a sad face, and finally surrendered and told everything. The instructor's name is Yi Ran. I haven't registered the names of the other two students. Yi Ran. Bai Shu heard this name. Furui Mubo's face finally showed shock. The ghost is still there, right? Why are there traces of this brat everywhere? No. Isn't this guy just golden? How could he turn a furnace of this level into such a disaster? Bai Shu was puzzled. He looked at Shang Yaoqin. Do you know what they are practicing? Shang Yaoqin frowned and thought for a while. No, when I came out, I really didn't see anything. Not only did he not refine anything, one of his students also took away a piece of our work clothes. Bai Shu looked at Shang Yaoqin's expression and after making sure that this person was not lying, he waved his hands helplessly. Go ahead. If Shang Yaoqin was granted amnesty, he would stand up in a hurry and prepare to leave here as if he were running away. Go back and truthfully explain your matter to the materials department, and receive your punishment yourself. Bai Shu's cold voice pierced Shang Yaoqin's heart. Shang Yaoqin's expression was uglier than crying, but he still said respectfully, Okay, principal. Also, tell your director that your material department failed the assessment this year and the performance will be cleared. Okay, principal. Shang Yaoqin really cried now. When I thought that I was about to go to the supplies office to tell Shu Yukai the good news, it was like falling into an ice cellar, and he felt the biting cold even at the furnace. After Shang Yaochen left, Bai Shu looked at his beloved furnace helplessly. If you want to repair it, I have to owe that stubborn old man Zhu Duanjin a favor. Yi Ran, this brat, had better give himself a reasonable explanation. Thinking of this, Bai Shu couldn't help but rub his temples. Today's forging tools cannot be forged. But it's been so long. I think that brat should have left by now. Bai Shu's mind moved. It disappeared directly in place. After a while, in the principal's office, there was a clang sound. It seems like something glass fell to the ground. Moment. The powerful power of space rapidly expanded from the principal's office and enveloped the entire campus. The overwhelming momentum of the Tuguo level made all the creatures in the school tremble. Yi Ran, who was not far away, naturally felt the majestic power of space. He was still choosing system rewards, but he couldn't help but stumbled. He glanced at the void black turtle beside him with some uncertainty. Fellow Daobao Duobao, you didn't do anything to offend the principal, right? Duobao rolled his eyes. Don't worry, there is no problem. Everything is agreed. He just can't accept my leaving for a while. It will be fine after a while. Hearing this, Yi Ran nodded slightly relieved. The older you get, the more emotional you become. Principal Bai probably needs to take it easy. Sure enough, after a moment, the pressure of the power of space dissipated. Only then did Yi Ran open the system's rewards again. Upgrade project. What should be upgraded to maximize benefits? Yi Ran thought for a moment, and then thought of something. Brothers, give me a dozen ratings. Kneel down and thank you. Kneel down and thank you. Kneel down and thank you. If it gets to 8, I will update it. Chapter 85 Gang Upgrade, Development of New Functions. Yi Ran counted the rewards that the system was giving him now. The innate Dao body does not belong to attributes and props and cannot be upgraded. The 5-clawed golden dragon soul has been integrated with his own bloodline and has been consumed. There is no hope of upgrading. As for an upgrade to attributes, the price-performance ratio doesn't seem to be very high. Things that can still be upgraded now. It seems that there is only one exclusive staff that is copied from Zhang Xiaoru's. And own gang tokens. Yi Ran hesitated for a moment between these two things. In the end, I chose to upgrade to Heavenly Court. Ding, the host's choice has been detected and the Heaven is being upgraded. Close black lens bracket. Ding, congratulations on the successful upgrade of the host's Heaven. Close black lens bracket. Yi Ran randomly clicked on the function of Heavenly Court. Apprenticeship ceremony. When incorporated into a sect, the sect leader can randomly select and copy the talents, skills, weapons, etc. of his direct disciples twice. Close black lens bracket. Inspiration. The sect leader can temporarily improve the all-round attributes of all disciples. The current attribute improvement rate is 200%, and the time limit is 10 minutes, 3/3. Close black lens bracket. The current sect's passive bonus. 1. Increase the practice speed by 30%. 2. Increase attack power by 30%. 3. The combined attack damage of sect disciples is increased by 30%. Close black lens bracket. The sect's technique inheritance room has been established. It is being produced according to the host's memory. The current inheritance is Martial Tianpeng Countdown, 15 days. The next production of the inheritance of the idol requires successful completion of 3 pointings. The current completion level, 0/3. The sect chat group has been established. All members of Heavenly Court can enter the chat group through the sect leader to communicate. This chat group ignores any restrictions and ignores any distance. Close black lens bracket. The chat group has opened the red envelope distribution function, and the content of the red envelope is not limited to currency, props, etc. Close black lens bracket. The chat group has enabled the transmission function. The leader can summon any chat group member to come to him, 3/3 cooling time, 24 hours 0 minutes and 0 seconds. The rest of the content will be released after another upgrade. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this series of introductions, Yi Ran was also a little surprised. I originally thought that this gang order only had a group strengthening effect. I didn't expect that after the upgrade, there would be so many functions. This time's upgrade, in addition to the original strengthening attributes of sect members being greatly improved. The copying function of the apprenticeship ceremony has also been changed from once to twice. But these are not the point. The focus is on this upgrade. Two major functions have been added. There are two major functions, the sect's technique inheritance room and the sect's chat group. Seeing that the sect's Kung Fu inheritance room will produce the inheritance statue of Marshal Tianpeng in 15 days. Yi Ran was amazed. If there is the first one, then there will naturally be the second one. According to this principle, what about the 4 emperors and 5 elders? What about the 28 constellations? What about the heavenly king on the pagoda? What about the 3 altars of the great god of the sea? As long as it lasts long enough, it will be produced by then. Good guy, does this relationship require you to build a real heaven? However, this function is temporarily unavailable. It still needs to be accumulated slowly. As for this sect chat group, it is really a magical function. A multifunctional chat room that integrates communication, transmission, and material delivery. And it's a chat room that ignores all restrictions. If it can be used well, Yi Ran and his direct disciples, no matter where they are or what kind of organization they are in, the bond between them will not dissipate because of this. It can be said, sect chat groups are the perfect tool to maintain relationships and help each other. Yi Ran thought for a moment. He chose to open the sect chat group and invited all his direct disciples into it. Congratulations to the host, you have successfully created a chat group. Please give yourself a nickname. Close black lens bracket. Yi Ran thought for a while. Finally, he silently picked up the nickname, Gardener. Slowly, Wang Dakan and others who were in various places seemed to have reacted. They all came to the chat group with nicknames. Congratulations, the Flame Prodigal, joined the group chat. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations, my name is Wang Dakan, has joined the group chat. Close black lens bracket. ... The originally quiet chat group became cheerful. My name is Wang Dakan. Is there anyone here? What is this place? Flame Prodigal. Damn, are you Wang Dakan? My name is Wang Dakan. Who are you and how do you know my name is Wang Dakan? What is this place? Flame Prodigal son. Brother, I am not blind. My name is Wang Dakan. So, who are you? Flame Prodigal son. Who is like you, casually telling others names in strange places? Fool. Yi Ran was speechless as he watched the two guys bickering. Suddenly, another reminder came from the system. Congratulations, Dark Knight Priest, has joined the group chat. Close black lens bracket. Flame Prodigal son. Is there a newcomer? Knight Priest. Flame Prodigal. Knight Priest. Knight Priest. Flame Prodigal. Do you know where this is? Knight Priest. Flame Prodigal son. I'm so angry. Why is there such a dull gourd? Knight Priest. Flame Prodigal. What is your name? Knight Priest. My name is Wang Dakan. He is called Dark Knight Pastor, you are called Flame Prodigal son, and my name is Wang Dakan, hee. Flame Prodigal son. Dakan, don't you think you are very humorous? Yi Ran watched the conversation between the three of them with a smile. It seemed like we had a good conversation. Then, he silently opened the red envelope function and silently put in 1,000 dragon coins. The red envelopes you distributed were snatched up within 1 second. Close black lens bracket. Flame Prodigal son. Damn it, can you really get the red envelopes you grabbed here? My name is Wang Dakan. Hey, I have money for today's haircut. Knight Priest. Flame Prodigal. Gardener, who are you? Why can you send red envelopes? Why did this red envelope arrive? Yi Ran thought for a moment. It feels like it will be a little difficult to explain for a while. Let it go for a while, and then explain it slowly when it's appropriate. Yi Ran said to himself. Little friend, what did you say? The void black turtle walking on the road looked up at Yi Ran. Yi Ran shook his head. Nothing, but Taoist Duobao, are you a little too ostentatious walking on the road like this? When Duobao heard Yi Ran's words, he looked down and said. Indeed, I have this general pattern. One turtle almost took up the entire corridor. Duobao shook his head. What's so difficult about this? It's up to me. Subsequently, the glyphs on the turtle's back began to glow white. Moment. The entire turtle body began to float in the air. Then it starts to shrink extremely. Finally, it became about the size of a thumb and lay on Yi Ran's shoulder. Yi Ran looked at the little one on his shoulder and was a little surprised. What are you looking at? Without this ability, how can Pindao break through those space restrictions? Duobao said, proudly raising his head. Yi Ran shook his head helplessly. There were no classes in the afternoon anyway, so I simply took Duobao to his staff dormitory. My little friend, fellow Taoist Duobao, please tell me. Can you tell me a little more about the glorious achievements of the great Taoist Duobao? Yi ran. Afternoon. In the principal's office. Lo Wanyi stood aside respectfully. He held the plan and said to Bai Shu. Principal, this is the final assessment plan for the freshman year. Please take a look. Chapter 86. Who turns on the lights so brightly in broad daylight? Lo Wanyi looked at Bai Shu. Today's principal is no longer as calm and leisurely as he used to be. The hair is a little messy. There are still some bloodshot eyes inside. I can't even hide my mental and physical exhaustion. The principal must have worked hard, exhausted energy for the construction of the school. When she thought of this, Lo Wanyi stood up straighter unconsciously. There was reverence in his eyes. Bai Shu looked over the plan. Raise your head, looking at Lo Wanyi with bloodshot eyes. The voice is a little hoarse. The final assessment for your freshman year this year is still the same as before. You plan to have a team battle after the group test and then individual battles. Lo Wanyi nodded. After all, this is an old tradition of the Magic Martial Arts Academy. It is easy for everyone to operate and has a high safety factor. Bai Shu shook his head. Change the mode. The class team battle is cancelled, and it is changed to the actual battle of hunting the demon cave outdoors. Hearing this, Lo Wanyi was slightly startled. Principal, this is not good. They are all freshmen who have just started school. The actual hunting in the demon cave is an assessment that only starts in the sophomore year. Bai Shu nodded. What you said makes sense. In this freshman assessment, 2 teachers from each class will go on a hunt in the demon cave with the 4 strongest students in the class. The teachers are responsible for protecting the safety of the students and participating in the killing. Calculate. Lo Wanyi was a little hesitant, but finally spoke up and fought for it. Recently, I heard that the demon cave is extremely unstable. Once a demonic wave breaks out, and it is so rash, I'm afraid that our freshman instructors and materials are not adequately prepared, and there will be an assessment accident. Bai Shu waved his hand. You don't have to worry about this. I will be there in person when the time comes. And it's not just me. There are many people who may be coming. Not to mention the demon tide, even the demon god coming to the world can't hold them back. After hearing what Bai Shu said, Lo Wanyi was slightly startled. A battle for the freshman exam. Can it be as big as this? But when Principal Bai said this, Lo Wanyi didn't know how to refute. Okay, just do as I say, change the assessment plan, and then notify the freshmen in advance so that they can prepare. Lo Wanyi nodded. Okay, Principal. After saying that, he planned to turn around and leave. Wait a minute. Just as Lo Wanyi was leaving, Bai Shu stopped her. Principal, is there anything else? Bai Shu's eyes were bloodshot and he said to Lo Wanyi. Put Yi Ran and his class in the most dangerous position. Principal, this is inappropriate. After all, Yi Ran's class has the worst foundation, and I'm afraid of danger. Lo Wanyi explained anxiously. When Bai Shu heard this, his expression was a little complicated. Danger. The last thing to worry about is Yi Ran and his class. However, these reasons were difficult to explain to Lo Wanyi. Bai Shu waved his hand. That's it. After all, the scores in the most dangerous places will be higher. This is good for their class. Lo Wanyi just opened her mouth to say something. But I felt my body began to retreat uncontrollably. The next second, standing directly outside the principal's office. Looking at this closed door, a wry smile appeared at the corner of Lo Wanyi's mouth. Don't give yourself any chance to refute at all. Yi Ran, we haven't seen each other for a few days, why did you even offend the principal? And in the principal's office, Bai Shu was still sitting on the chair and sulking. When I thought about half of my collection being taken away by that old bastard, I became extremely angry. And that brat Yi Ran. Thinking of this, Bai Shu couldn't help but blow his beard. Going to the demon's cave is an advantage for him, so he should be put in the demon god's territory. Of course, these are all angry words. After all, he and Duobao had made an agreement in advance. As a nation-killing transcendent, I can't argue with that bastard. The reason for this arrangement is, first, I believe that Yi Ran and the others can definitely handle it. If not, there will be a student who lowers the bottom line of extraordinary. Second time, Bai Shu squinted his eyes and murmured. The bait has been set, it's time to bite the hook. The next day, the assessment rules modified by Bai Shu Mo were also made public. This time, it completely detonated the entire freshman year. What? The school is crazy. Outdoor assessment. Look carefully. What kind of outdoor assessment is this? This is a hunting den for demons. A den for demons. Isn't there a certain chance of hunting the demon cave only at the end of the sophomore year? Why does this start in the freshman year? I heard that there are casualty indicators for the assessment of hunting the demon cave. No, one year I was hunting a demon cave, and ended up running into a demon tide, and most of the people died. If you select top students to participate, are you really afraid that all these students will get lost? That's right, I don't have any experience, even if I have a teacher to protect me, it may not be foolproof. Is the school crazy? One stone stirs up 1,000 waves. Many parents of the selected students even used their connections to put pressure on the school. As a result, they were all strongly pushed back by the school. Either you drop out of school, or you have to take the demon cave assessment. The storm of assessment also spread to the freshman and second classes. Because classes 1 and 2 not only have to take the demon cave assessment, the assigned place is still one of the most dangerous places. School, are you crazy? Why? This is a place we can go to. I don't know who teacher Yi plans to choose. Yes, except for Dakin and Huang Dongdong, our strengths seem to be about the same. Who cares? Anyway, I think it's okay for the school to do this. After all, you have to face the devil's cave after leaving school. That's right, and although the places where we are divided are dangerous, the easier it is to hunt high-level monsters, the greater our chances of getting high scores. That's right, Teacher Yi's teachings during this period were all taught by Bai. Brother, I'm already very familiar with Kun Quan. I'm just waiting to go to the demon cave to kill the little Haitzi. Don't forget, we all just underwent hair removal. Before the assessment, our strength will at least be improved. That's right, after my brother became bald, he also became a lot stronger. If you continue to destroy your prestige, don't blame my brother Monkey for being cruel and ruthless. The students were chattering. The challenge this time is so difficult. Logically speaking, the students who should be extremely frustrated are now eager to try. The original negative quagmire seemed to be slowly transformed by Yi Ran. It presents a prosperous scene. Li Wancheng sitting at the back of the classroom. Looking at these high-spirited students, they were also amazed. After this period of contact, he really didn't think this was a salted fish class. On the contrary, the fighting spirit of these students is no less than that of the young boys in their military department. Rendering of emotions, it aroused some of the enthusiasm he felt when he first entered the barracks. Only, there is one thing that Li Wancheng is puzzled by. I was just away for a day because of something. After coming back, what's going on with these big bald heads? Has the recent trend among young people become so popular that you can't understand it? Sheila, as the classroom door was opened, Yi Ran entered the second class of the first grade. But as soon as I came in, I was so blinded that I couldn't open my eyes. Who turns on the lights so brightly in broad daylight? Chapter 87. We have only one goal. Number 1. Yi Ran narrowed his eyes for a while. After slowly opening his eyes, he quickly closed them again. What did I see? Am I dreaming? After a long while, Yi Ran finally prepared himself mentally. Slowly opening his eyes, looking at the shiny bald heads. Some myocardial angina. It's too harsh on the eyes. Even if all men have bald heads, why do girls also shave their heads? This is. Yi Ran wanted to say something, but the words couldn't come out. But all the students in Class 1 and Class 2 looked at him proudly. Especially Wang Dakin, putting on an, I understand everything, look, he smiled and said. Looking at Wang Dakin's expression, Yi Ran was stunned. A bad premonition came to my mind. He said somewhat helplessly. Wang Dakin, tell me, what's going on? Wang Dakin looked at Yi Ran and stood up with a proud look on his face. Teacher Yi, stop hiding, we all know the trick you told Huang Dongdong to open the stove. Hearing this sentence, Yi Ran understood the reason instantly. When he looked at Huang Dongdong immediately got into the desk with his head lowered. I am an ostrich in the desert. You can't see me, you can't see. Huang Dongdong, stand up for me. Yi Ran's sharp voice frightened Huang Dongdong. Then, with an embarrassed look on his face, he stood up awkwardly. Give me an explanation. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong. Teacher Yi, I really didn't mean it. I just lied to Dakin. I really didn't expect everyone to believe it. Huang Dongdong said aggrievedly. After hearing what Huang Dongdong said, Wang Dakan, who was still very proud, froze. My heart skipped a beat. He turned his head and looked at Huang Dongdong. Dongdong. No, right, didn't you say that if you completely remove your hair, you can feel the inner strength and your cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds? Facing Wang Dakan's clear and stupid big eyes, Huang Dongdong chose to avoid. At this time, no matter how naive Wang Dakan was, he understood the general idea at this time. He touched his bald head with a look of grief and anger. Huang Dongdong, give me back my beautiful hair. I was about to walk towards Huang Dongdong. Wang Dakan, sit down for me. Wang Dakan stopped with his bald head. But the mood still hasn't calmed down. Then, with a third part of grievance and a third part of sadness and indignation, he shouted loudly. Sit down. After saying that, he sat down and, at this time, the proud faces of the whole class fell. Some of them have already quietly taken out their hats from the drawer and put them on. Yi Ran looked at the student angrily. How should I say hello to you? After being played around by a 12-year-old child, can you have some sense of independence? It would be better not to say this. When he said that, all the students' present's faces turned red. Huang Dongdong, Teacher Yi, tell me. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong, feeling helpless. Starting today, you will be responsible for all classroom hygiene until the end of the final assessment. Okay, Teacher Yi. Huang Dongdong also knew that he was in the wrong and quietly agreed to Yi Ran's punishment. Yi Ran looked at the bald heads in the class. What the hell? In just one day, I changed my career from a school tutor to a temple abbot. Yi Ran looked up helplessly and took a long breath of relief. Calm down your mood. Okay, let's get down to business. You have seen today's school assessment notice, right? The usual team battle has been cancelled, and has been changed to a hunt in the demon's cave. Each class selects 4 students and a teacher to go into the demon's cave together. The demon cave where we are hunting this time is called the Eternal Night Demon Cave. It is one of the 72 demon gods and one of the original territories of the Eternal Night Demon God. The Eternal Night Demon Cave was very prosperous in the past. There were countless gold-level demon generals, no less than 100 platinum-level demon kings, and no less than 10 diamond-level demon lords. In addition, there were also the protection of the nation-slaying Transcendent Lord Eternal Night. It was also called one of the forbidden areas. It's just that later, in the battle between the Eternal Night Demon God and the Superpower Alliance, he was beheaded by the Superpower Alliance and fell. The entire demon cave lost its shelter. All major forces took turns to enter the scene. The demon lords and demon kings in the Eternal Night Demon Cave died. Run away, the strength of the Evernight Demon Cave has been greatly reduced. Quote. After this period of history, the Evernight Devil's Cave has completely become a testing ground for all major forces. Most of the current Eternal Night Devil's Cave are only low-level monsters, so everyone doesn't have to bear too much psychological burden. Yi Ran told the students the origin and evolution of Yangye Devil's Cave. Then, the conversation changed and the tone became serious. But this time, I believe you have also seen the place where our class is divided, Yangye Mountain Ridge, one of the permanent residences of Yangye Demon God in Yangye Demon Cave. In other words, it is also the place where the evil energy of the Eternal Night Demon Cave is strongest. The monsters living here have a very high probability of evolving and upgrading. So, no one can guarantee whether there will be high-level monsters here. I hope all students can understand that after going to the Demon Cave, you can no longer hold yourself to the standards of a student. You are a warrior on the battlefield. What you have to face are threats from all directions. What you have to face is life and death. A test of death. Remember, don't underestimate any monster. Even a silver-level monster may kill you. On the battlefield, there is no luck, any negligence will cause death. Don't rush in, don't be arrogant, if there is danger, you must activate the return stone as soon as possible. Yi Ran looked at the students and paused. Now I will click on the list of students who participated in this demon cave hunting assessment. Wang Dakan, Huang Dongdong, Zhang Xiaoru, Lan Moyan. As for the teachers who lead the team, Teacher Li Wancheng and I will lead the team. As soon as Yi Ran's list came out, all the students were in an uproar. What the hell, it's understandable that Dakan and Huang Dongdong are on the list. How did Zhang Xiaoru and Lan Moyan get on the list? Yes, Zhang Xiaoru couldn't even master the lowest level of healing skills at that time, and she also stopped studying for a long time. If you don't even practice cultivation, I'm probably still the same as before. I didn't slander my classmate, so wouldn't it be a burden to let her in? Do you know the details of Lan Moyan? You have never seen him take action. Looking at him, he doesn't look like he's very good at fighting. You can't rely on your good looks to let a monster commit suicide. Teacher Yi, aren't you planning to mess it up again? It's impossible. If this continues, Teacher Yi will be fired. The classmates were chattering and couldn't understand Yi Ran's selection. Yi Ran naturally wouldn't explain anything. After all, these 4 people selected are definitely the strongest foursome that their class can put together. Regardless of Lan Moyan, just talking about the first 3 people, if nothing unexpected happens, it should be no problem to go to the Eternal Night Demon Cave without the Platinum Demon King. Plus Lan Moyan, unless the Eternal Night Demon God is reborn, there should be nothing in the Eternal Night Demon Cave that can stop him. Of course, the reason why Yi Ran chose Lan Moyan was because the main reason is to prevent the Zhu family from making small moves. Yi Ran looked at Wang Dakan and the others. This demon cave assessment is based on hunting monsters. Black iron is worth 1 point, brass is worth 10 points, silver is worth 100 points, gold is worth 1000 points, and so on. I hope our class will have a good turnaround. We have only one goal. Yi Ran raised a finger. First, fucking first. And in an office opposite Yi Ran's classroom, a fat man silently took off his headphones. A disdainful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He said to himself, first, hee, I will help. Chapter 88 The Zhu Family's Actions. And standing behind this fat man, Han Qunjung half bowed with a respectful look on his face, glancing in the direction of Yi Ran's classroom from the corner of his eyes, shining with a sinister light. At this time, the fat man put down his telescope. He squinted at Han Qun and said with a smile, how's it going, Teacher Han, have you found it? Han Qun nodded. Mr. Zhu, we have found them all. Among the student lists reported by Yi Ran this time, there is only one Huang Dongdong worth paying attention to. This is a disciple of Huo Wen, the fire sect. The other 3 are all from Yi Ran's class. The students inside should all be at the silver level, and one of them is a new transfer student, so we don't have any information yet. Han Qun hesitated for a moment and continued, Mr. Zhu, if not, I will check the background of this transfer student. After hearing this, the fat man waved his hand. No more investigation. What can be done about a little-known transfer student? If he is really a treasure, which school will let him go? Han Qun heard the fat man's words and nodded cooperatively. Mr. Zhu said that we won't investigate anymore. The fat man seemed very satisfied with Han Qun's performance. He leaned back on his chair and said confidently, it seems that Yi Ran's trump card is Huang Dongdong. So far, that's the case. Hearing this, the fat man smiled disdainfully. Isn't it just a sect disciple who is about to fall into despair? If he returns it as a treasure, the Yi family will really live better and better. I thought it would be a difficult task to complete, but it ended up like this. My cousin still insists on me staring here, wasting time. Then, the fat man raised his head again and looked at Han Qun with a smile. Teacher Han, how have you been lately? Han Qun listened to the fat man's question and nodded hurriedly. Thanks to the Zhu family, I saved my life and saved my life. This kindness will be unforgettable by Han. Thank you Mr. Zhu, thank you Zhu family. This person called Mr. Zhu. He is a member of the Zhu family in Kyoto. Zhu Wenbin, a collateral branch of the Zhu family, can be regarded as Zhu Dacheng's cousin. Although he is a waste who has only achieved gold in cultivation, but still under the operation of the Zhu family, was placed in an important position. On weekdays, Zhu Wenbin likes to watch some poor nobles who are stronger than him perform obedience performances on him. To satisfy my inferiority complex and complacency. Zhu Wenbin stretched his waist. I feel some discomfort in my throat. So he glanced at Han Qun aside. Han Qun picked up the ashtray on the side very wisely and held it in front of the fat man with both hands. Pooh. Zhu Wenbin spit a mouthful of thick phlegm into the ashtray. He pinched his collar comfortably and shook his head. Then, he smiled and patted Han Qun on the shoulder. Don't worry, Teacher Han, the Zhu family will not treat you badly. Even if you break up with Mowu in the end, our Zhu family can let you go somewhere else, and your future will be as bright. When Han Qun heard Zhu Wenbin's words, he bowed respectfully as if he had been favored by the emperor. Thank you to the Zhu family. From now on, I, Han Qun, will work hard for the Zhu family. Han Qun's obedience performance made Zhu Wenbin very satisfied. This is the effect the Zhu family wants. Since I saved you, you will become a member of the Zhu family from now on. Any benefit must be centered on the Zhu family. Of course, the Zhu family will not forget to give you soup when it takes off. The Zhu family has used this method to control many young talents who are not very upright. Zhu Wenbin listened to Han Qun's words and nodded. It's good that you have this intention. After all, you still need to handle the matter. Han Qun looked at Zhu Wenbin and continued. Don't worry, Mr. Zhu, if you don't tell me, I will fight Yi Ran to the end. Han Qun said, with a hint of gritted teeth. Han Qun hated Yi Ran deeply. The wealth and image he had managed for many years were wiped out by Yi Ran at once. He almost even lost his life. Yi Ran was relatively low-key before. So Han Qun never knew Yi Ran's background. Han Qun, who is now in the game, also understands the grievances between the Zhu family and the Yi family. Of course he knew why the Zhu family saved him. Although I am a chess piece. But this can not only take revenge, but also serve as a pledge of surrender to the Zhu family. Why wouldn't Han Qun be happy to achieve double success with one stone? Han Qun looked at Zhu Wenbin. Mr. Zhu, Han is indeed determined to kill the thief, but his ability is limited. After all, Yi Ran's strength has been obvious to all before. Han's failure is small, but ruining the Zhu family's plan is a big sin. Zhu Wenbin looked at Han Qun and waved his hand. Don't worry. This time, your mission is just to mess up his assessment. Someone will kill Yi Ran later. But what our Zhu family pays attention to in everything we do is to be foolproof. Then, Zhu Wenbin threw it towards the table. A row of steel needle tubes rolled out. Through the glass surface of the needle tube, you can see the strange green liquid inside. Seeing this, Han Qun picked up one and looked at it carefully. This is. Zhu Wenbin glanced at Han Qun with some contempt and said casually. Have you ever heard of the water of life? After hearing the words, water of life, Han Qun's hands trembled and he almost lost his grip. Looking at Zhu Wenbin in shock. Zhu Wenbin nodded. Yes, that's what you have in your hand. Hearing Zhu Wenbin's affirmation, Han Qun once again held the steel needle and looked at it. There is no way. The reputation of Odavaya is really too great. This is not some kind of healing potion, but all those who have been injected with the water of life. The strength will increase by a stage in a short period of time. Extremely violent, even at Han Qun's level, after being injected with the water of life. It can also go directly from the initial stage of platinum to the late stage of platinum in an instant, and may even skyrocket to the level of half-step diamond. The most amazing thing is, this kind of thing, after using it, your body will feel a little overdrafted, and it will be better after you rest for a while. Other than that, there are no side effects. The absolute top stimulant. And another reason why Odavaya is famous. It is the making of this water of life. This is the unique life-draining skill of the monster succubus, which is used on living people. Processed by squeezing human life. Therefore, the production of water of life. It was entirely a deal made between some organizations that betrayed the human race and Queen Charming, one of the 72 demon gods. Sacrificing human beings. 90% is given to the succubus, and 10% is turned into water of life. Therefore, although this thing is very effective, but it has violated the bottom line of mankind. Whenever it appears, it will be destroyed. Not only must it be destroyed, human organizations have publicly declared. Any organization has the right to kill people or organizations that use, sell, and produce water of life. Water of life, it can be said that whether you own it, sell it, or make it, you will be the public enemy of mankind. Han Qun took the water of life, which was heavy. I feel a little unable to hold it. Zhu Wenbin actually waved his hand and came out with this kind of hot potato. He felt that he was evil enough, but he never expected that the Zhu family was even more terrifying than he imagined. Once people know this kind of thing, there will be absolutely no place to die. Now Zhu Wenbin gave himself nearly 5 bottles of water of life at one time. Such size, such indifference. Han Qun even suspected that the Zhu family was involved in the development of the water of life. Chapter 89. My sword skills are still a little rusty, please correct me, Teacher Li. Since Zhu Wenbin can hand over such a thing to him so generously, it seems like there are only 2 ways for me to go now. Be obedient or die. Thinking of this, Han Qun broke into a cold sweat and his spine felt chilly. Why does Teacher Han want to report me with this expression? Zhu Wenbin's unpleasant voice came again. Han Qun glanced at Zhu Wenbin, who was a little joking, gritted his teeth. He put the water of life directly into his inner pocket. Zhu Wenbin admired Han Qun's performance. Teacher Han, don't worry. As long as this generation's water of life is not caught and injected, it will not be detected even if the extraordinary comes. For your students, I have only one request. Zhu Wenbin glanced at it and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Deliberately clashed with Yi Ran's students, and then killed him. After Han Qun heard this, he nodded. My students have 4 golden ones. All they have to do is inject the water of life. Each one of them can be regarded as a pseudo-platinum level without enlightenment. This level of power, in Han Qun's eyes, it was more than enough to deal with Yi Ran and his class. Han Qun looked at Zhu Wenbin and nodded seriously. Don't worry, Mr. Zhu, I will make arrangements. After saying that, Han Qun left the room directly. Zhu Wenbin watched Han Qun leave. He touched his ring thoughtfully and squinted his eyes sinisterly. Talking to himself. One layer of insurance is not enough. The other side. Yi Ran had just finished his impassioned morale boost. That's all for today. I wish our class can win the Toad Palace this year and return triumphantly. Yi Ran on the podium looked at the students below the stage with satisfaction. After my own teaching and training during this period of time, classes 1 and 2 are no longer the same mess as usual. Both strength and mentality have undergone earth-shaking changes. The spring breeze of passion and vitality finally blew on the faces of every student in this class. This youthful scene, if not all of them were bald, the relationship would be better. When I think of this, Yi Ran glanced at Huang Dongdong speechlessly again. He seemed to feel Yi Ran's gaze. Huang Dongdong quickly lowered his head and chose to avoid it. The time for the final assessment is getting closer and closer. There is no time left for these students to grow their hair. Students in my own class may have to take exams with bald heads. That's all, the monk class will be the monk class. As long as you can get results. Yi Ran reluctantly accepted the reality and waved his hand. Get out of class is over, students. After saying that, he was ready to leave the classroom. The moment Yi Ran left, everyone's eyes turned to Huang Dongdong. If looks could kill, Huang Dongdong would have been Lingqi by now. You're going to be in trouble. Lan Moyan looked at Huang Dongdong playfully. Huang Dongdong was extremely calm and composed at this moment. Don't panic, let's watch senior brother perform. Faced with the cannibalistic gazes, Huang Dongdong is calm and composed. He coughed lightly. I randomly picked up a book from my desk. He stood up and looked at the classroom door. Teacher Yi, I don't quite understand this boxing technique. Yi Ran, who had already left the classroom, looked back at Huang Dongdong. Then you come with me. Okay, teacher. In an instant, Huang Dongdong left the classroom at an extremely fast speed. The speed was so fast that he even used the power of Samadhi True Fire. So much so that it left a trail of golden red afterimages. Before everyone could react, Huang Dongdong was completely nowhere to be found. So fast. Lan Moyan looked at Huang Dongdong running for his life and muttered to himself. Li Wancheng, who was sitting at the back of the classroom. I was slightly surprised when I saw Huang Dongdong leaving. As an extraordinary person, he could naturally see that Huang Dongdong's energy fluctuations were abnormal. It has definitely exceeded the limit that ordinary gold can reach. Could it be said that Huang Dongdong is also a good seedling? For a time, seeing that Li Wancheng was eager to hunt, he stood up and planned to go out and touch Huang Dongdong's bottom. Result. He had just walked to Lan Moyan's side, but Lan Moyan blocked his way. At this time, Lan Moyan looked at herself with a smile on her face. Li Wancheng looked at Lan Moyan's smile. I couldn't help but shudder. For no other reason than Lan Moyan's cold evil aura, he had already enveloped himself. The horror of evil spirit. He was so excited that his lava skin activated passively. What kind of crazy thing is this murderer god doing? Li Wancheng complained to Lan Moyan speechlessly, but he still had a smile on his face. Student Lan, do you need help from the teaching assistant for anything? Listening to Li Wancheng's inquiry, Lan Moyan smiled brighter. He nodded seriously. The assessment is coming soon. My swordsmanship is still a bit rusty. Please ask Teacher Li for correction. Hearing Lan Moyan's words, Li Wancheng felt 10,000 grass and mud horses galloping. May I correct you? Dude, if you want to kill me, just say so. No need to go through all these twists and turns. Of course, Li Wancheng naturally did not dare to say these things in his heart. For a moment, the two of them froze on the spot. Why is Teacher Li unwilling? Lan Moyan still smiled. It's just that this peerless face is more terrifying in Li Wancheng's eyes than that demon. Li Wancheng smiled awkwardly. Ahem, cough, of course the teacher is willing, but I've been feeling a little unwell recently. Next time, I'll definitely correct you carefully next time. As he said this, Li Wancheng turned sideways, intending to avoid Lan Moyan and pursue Huang Dongdong. As a result, he had just been side by side with Lan Moyan. Then he felt something sharp pressing against his waist. Li Wancheng slowly lowered his head and looked. At this time, Lan Moyan's magic weapon. The treasure of the Sword God sect and one of the most powerful divine weapons in the Dragon Kingdom. No front, right on top of my waist. Li Wancheng swallowed slowly, raised his head and looked deeply at Lan Moyan. He said to Lan Moyan in a voice that could not be detected by others. Director Lan, there's no need to be so cruel. Lan Moyan looked at Li Wancheng with a smile still on her face. The same sound that no one else could detect came out from the cracks of his mouth. Today, you have to compete, even if you don't compete, you have to compete. After hearing Lan Moyan's threat, Li Wancheng laughed suddenly and patted Lan Moyan on the shoulder. Classmate Lan, I suddenly feel better. Let's choose a different day. Let's go to the practice room together now and let me correct you. Thank you, Teacher Li. Lan Moyan still had a smile on her face, expressing her gratitude. You're welcome, this is what a teacher should do. In this way, the two people left the classroom side by side. They are so close that they are like brothers, so intimate. Anyone who comes to see it must say that teachers and students have a deep relationship. And at this moment, Yi ran in the corridor. He was looking at Huang Dongdong in front of him with a speechless expression. Dongdong, take a comic book and ask me to teach you what. The key is still this romance comic. Chapter 90. You are strong, worth my sword. Huang Dongdong also lowered his head at this moment. Teacher Yi, it's my fault that the whole class is bald. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong who was apologizing, and rubbed his head helplessly. Okay, don't be shy next time. Yi Ran was furious as he spoke. In the final analysis, they are still stupid. They can be fooled by a child, so they have the nerve to hold grudges. Seeing that Yi Ran didn't seem angry, Huang Dongdong felt relieved. If there's nothing else, go back to class quickly. Yi Ran waved his hand, signaling Huang Dongdong to leave. No, teacher, I really have something to do, just. Huang Dongdong thought about it and hesitated for a long time, just pestering Yi Ran. Then he seemed to think of something. He hurriedly said to Yi Ran. By the way, Teacher Yi, there is one more thing. A strange thing happened in my mind recently. I can actually chat with Wang Dakan in my mind. Not only that, but red envelopes can be given out in the chat group, and the best thing is that the red envelopes can still be paid. Later, Huang Dongdong vividly told Yi Ran everything about the chat group in his mind. When I spoke, there was still confusion and shock in my eyes. After all, this kind of thing. So weird, even with so many years of experience in the fire element sect, he has never heard of such a thing. So Teacher Yi, do you know what's going on? Could I be cursed by some weird church? Listening to Huang Dongdong describing his chat group is so unbearable, Yi Ran said speechlessly. Your family will give you money even if you curse. That's right. Huang Dongdong rubbed his head in embarrassment, and finally thought of another direction. Teacher Yi, do you think it is a new type of telecommunications fraud? I heard that those telecommunications fraud methods are to give you a small favor first, and then deceive you into bankruptcy. Teacher Yi, to tell you the truth, my master Huo Wen was once deceived into buying tea. He ended up spending millions without even seeing the hair on the tea leaves. Master doesn't allow me to tell outsiders. Teacher Yi, you must never dare to spread the word. Huang Dongdong said it vividly. Yi Ran interrupted Huang Dongdong speechlessly. Stop. Let Huang Dongdong continue to say this. My chat group will have to go to the public security department to register. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong angrily. You tell me, people with such means would engage in telecommunications fraud. Yi Ran didn't think about how to explain this to these students, so he planned to fool them for the time being. That chat group shouldn't be a bad thing, just stay in it. No, teacher. Huang Dongdong still wanted to ask, but he seemed to be looking for something to say when he had nothing to say. Yi Ran waved his hand a little tiredly, not bothering to explain so much, so he waved his hand and interrupted Huang Dongdong's inquiry. Okay, I've been complaining for a long time and refused to leave. You talked so much nonsense, but I still don't know that you came out to avoid Wang Dakan. Yi Ran pointed to the corner again. Wang Dakan and the others who were squatting with you in the corner just now have left. Now you can rest assured. As if Yi Ran had exposed his thoughts, Huang Dongdong touched his head sheepishly, and then flattered. As expected of Teacher Yi, you have discovered all this. Yi Ran looked at Huang Dongdong angrily. If you did something wrong, you did something wrong. Dakan and the others are so big, can they still eat you? Prepare well for the final exam. If you really want to make amends, remember to work harder in the exam room. When Huang Dongdong heard Yi Ran's words, he nodded seriously. Teacher, don't worry. As the leader of Class 2, it is my duty to protect my brothers. Dongdong, can you read less Zhonghu novels? In the practice room, Li Wancheng looked at Lan Moyan who was doing warm-up exercises in front of him. I have already begun to name Lan Moyan's family tree one by one in my mind. After a while, Lan Moyan stood up, looking at Li Wancheng with a smile. Need to warm up. Li Wancheng looked at Lan Moyan's peerless face, which was harmless to humans and animals and couldn't find any flaws. Swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Stop joking, Director Lan, I am no match for you. Director Lan, there are no outsiders here. Let's not go around in circles. Li Wancheng frowned. As he spoke, he waved his hands. What kind of international joke is this? Lan Moyan's sword. When Bai Shu comes, you have to stay away. Who am I? What are you talking about, Teacher Li? I don't understand. Lan Moyan looked at Li Wancheng and asked naturally. Li Wancheng looked at Lan Moyan. It feels worse than eating shit at this time. No one can wake up someone who is pretending to sleep. But this guy who pretended to be asleep needs to beat himself up now. But I still can't beat it. For a time, faced with a deadlock, Li Wancheng shook his head speechlessly, put his hands on his hips, and took a deep breath. Lan Moyan looked at Li Wancheng's movements and asked. This is your warm-up exercise, right? Then I'll start. Li Wancheng, what's the warm-up exercise? Are you still talking about the basic law? Just finished saying. Lan Moyan's eyes lit up slightly. There is obviously no change in movement. But in Li Wancheng's eyes, he could no longer see Lan Moyan's figure. The person in front of him was no longer the beautiful young man in his 20s. But a sharp blade with unrivaled sharpness. The sharpness on the blade. Just looking at it made his face feel like it was being cut apart. The ultimate sword intention. Man and sword become one. That sharp sword energy. They gathered into a sharp edge and focused in front of Li Wancheng. Li Wancheng felt a tremor coming from his soul. Surging determination. It stings every cell in Li Wancheng. I'm going to start. Lan Moyan still spoke concisely and to the point. As soon as I finished speaking, the person just disappeared. No. Li Wancheng spoke his hometown dialect anxiously. Although I don't know why Lan Moyan is so crazy. But as an extraordinary person in the military department. After all, they are people who have experienced life and death battles, so naturally they cannot just sit back and wait for death. Lava skin. Hardened. Moment. Li Wancheng's body began to swell. The whole person instantly expanded from 2 meters to 5 meters tall. The clothes on my body fell to pieces. Li Wancheng's skin gradually turned into the shape of lava. Those pieces of lava skin. The lights and shadows of the swords above show the owner's glorious achievements. Among the ravines of lava, the dark red energy is like magma, constantly flashing the breath of terror. Between every breath and every breath, carrying a huge amount of weight. A flash of cold light. After a crisp sound, Lan Moyan's figure appeared directly behind Li Wancheng. Lan Moyan at this time, looking at Li Wancheng, he nodded with a smile and said with slight appreciation. He is indeed a genius that the military has high hopes for. His defensive power is pretty good. Li Wancheng slowly turned his head, looking at Lan Moyan resentfully. Now, you don't pretend to be a student teacher anymore. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and was not injured. Li Wancheng complained speechlessly. As a result, the moment Li Wancheng turned around, boom, the 5-meter-long body fell to the ground uncontrollably. You are strong and worthy of my sword. Lan Moyan's voice came faintly in front of Li Wancheng. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 91. The Unusual Eternal Night Demon Cave. Li Wancheng tried to control his body. As a result, I found that I couldn't use my legs at all. At this time, he looked shocked. How can it be? Although the blow just now was invincible, I still blocked it with all my strength. Why? My legs. This moment, Li Wancheng's face flashed with fear. Being injured is not scary. What is scary is being injured and you still don't understand how the other person acted. Obviously he is also a transcendent. But Lan Moyan's sword. Has it reached the point where you can't even understand it? For a moment, Li Wancheng felt that the gap between him and Lan Moyan was like a gap in the sky. But I have also had contact with the nation-killing transcendent from the military department before. There is indeed a big gap. But no extraordinary person has ever allowed himself to feel so powerless. Thinking of this, Li Wancheng was sweating profusely, his eyes flashing with fear. Don't bother, I have cut off the consciousness of your legs. It should take half a month to recover. The corners of Lan Moyan's mouth raised slightly. There is still a harmless smile on his face. What a pity, I just missed the freshman exam. Li Wancheng's heart. Me. Percent at percent. Hash percent. Lan Moyan. Huh. Call the infirmary for me. No problem. After saying that, Lan Moyan turned around and left. Wait a moment. Lan Moyan stopped and turned around. Is there anything else you want to explain? At least leave me a set of clothes. Over time, at Gaowu Academy in the Magic City, the day of freshman exams is getting closer and closer. The focus of all teachers and students is focused on this assessment. Especially after the official announcement of the prizes for this freshman exam. He is one of the three pillars of the Demon City, Venerable Void, the extraordinary person who kills the country, and the principal of the Gaowu Academy of the Demon City, Bai Shu. After making the space ring with my own hands, the whole school started to get excited. After all, a space prop that is sold to the outside world costs millions of dragon coins. Still produced by a master. As soon as this news came out, the topic once reached the front page of the news. This undoubtedly adds another level of enthusiasm to this freshman assessment. Suddenly, the whole school's discussion about the favorite to win the championship began to intensify. Have you heard? Several students in teacher Li Shizong's class have suddenly broken through to the gold level. What is a sudden breakthrough? It's just that it's been hidden all this time, and now it's revealed. It's only my freshman year, and there are nearly 10 golden students. This title of master is truly well deserved. Haven't you seen it before? At that time, teacher Li Shizong and his class held an internal competition in order to compete for this time's Demon Cave assessment. I watched that video. It's so scary. It's so evil. There are actually 4 of them who have reached the late golden stage. 4 golden late stages. Some sophomore classes can't even put together such a lineup. As expected of him, he is the #1 favorite to win the championship this year. Apart from Li Shizong's class, only teacher Han's class should be eligible to compete for the championship, right? After all, they are also 4 gold level students. Oh, that beast Han Kyun. Shish, be careful not to be overheard. Although the teacher is a beast, I have to say that my class is really capable. The students were discussing with each other. The favorites to win the entire freshman class have completely focused on Li Shizong's class and Han Kyun's class. These 2 classes are also called the freshman twins. Although Yue Ran's first grade class 2 also had students from his own family discussing the potential of winning the championship with other classmates. But every time I say it, it will be treated as a joke by other students. Laugh it off. Not only did it not create any momentum for Class 1 and Class 2. Instead, the story of Class 1 and Class 2 being deceived into having their heads shaved by a 12-year-old kid spread throughout the campus. The wise saying that good things never go out and bad things spread thousands of miles has been verified once again. In short, after this round of discussion, the entire first grade and second grade students were filled with anger. And at this moment, Yi Ran dragged his suitcase, looking speechlessly at the little tortoise lying on his shoulder. Fellow Taoist Duobao, it's not that I don't want to take you there, it's just that this is against the rules. Although Yi Ran said earnestly, Duobao just lay on Yi Ran's shoulder and refused to move. Diamond level strength is displayed here. Even if Yi Ran takes off his arm, he probably won't be able to get Duobao away. Duobao just lay there and said in a disdainful tone, you just take Pindao to the link point. Pindao has many ways to get in. They can find a hair on Pindao, and Pindao has their last name. Yi Ran looked at Duobao speechlessly. Where did you get the hair from, a bastard? It seemed that he felt Yi Ran's gaze. Duobao proudly raised his little turtle head. He said in an old-fashioned way. Little friend Yi Ran, I'm going to tell you that there are great opportunities in the Evernight Devil's Cave. If you don't take this poor person with you, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Big opportunity. Hearing Duobao say this, Yi Ran suddenly felt energetic. After all, Duobao has been following Bai Shu all over the world for so long. He is definitely famous for his vision and knowledge. Being told by him is a great opportunity. That's really something. That's natural. Why do you think the Alliance of Superpowers chose a weaker demon god who could complete the second awakening mission before, but in the end they chose the Eternal Night Demon god who is above average in strength? Hearing this, Yi Ran became energetic. Indeed, when the Alliance of Superpowers announced that they would encircle and suppress the Evernight Demon god, it shocked the whole world. After all, the original absolute power, Andrew's second awakening mission. All I need is a demon god's life magic crystal. This does not require him to be King Yongye by name. They can definitely choose a weaker demon god to encircle and suppress. As a result, they surrounded and suppressed an eternal night demon god with average strength. This cannot be justified no matter how you put it. At that time, this topic sparked quite a discussion. But as time went by, everyone gradually stopped worrying about this matter. Fellow Taoist Duobao, I would like to hear the details. Yi Ran said in a humble tone. Duobao nodded his little head very helpfully. He spoke proudly. Let me tell you, the Eternal Night Demon Cave is different from other demon caves. This place is not polluted by the Eternal Night Demon God himself, but is a natural dimensional space. When the Alliance of Superpowers chose to encircle and suppress the Eternal Night Demon, part of the reason was for Andrew's second awakening, and the other reason was to find the thing called the seed in the Eternal Night Demon's cave. Seed. Yi Ran discovered Hua Dian. As for the seeds, I actually don't understand them very well. It's just that one time when Bai Shu was chatting with me, he said something like this, and before Duobao finished speaking, Duobao's voice stopped suddenly. Then he seemed to realize what he had said too much. He waved his turtle claws and muttered. The secrets of heaven must not be leaked, the secrets of heaven must not be leaked. Oh, too much leakage. It's hurting your body. You need to rest. Afterwards, Duobao closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. In order to pretend to be more realistic, Duobao snored intentionally or unintentionally. Why are you a bastard snoring? Watching this void turtle pretending to sleep. And he also used the excuses he made up before to excuse himself. Yi Ran felt like he was being choked. Look at this posture. I guess I won't be able to ask anything more. Yi Ran shook his head helplessly. I could only continue to pack my luggage and leave the dormitory with Duobao. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Chapter 92. The assessment is about to begin. Zhang Xiaoru is silent. Suburbs. On an extremely empty lawn, there stands a huge doorframe. The material of the door frame cannot be clearly seen, but it shines brightly in the sunlight. The extraordinary origin of this door frame shines through. The door frame is covered with dense mysterious lines. These lines are complex and extremely regular. If you look at it carefully, you may even get stuck in it and be unable to extricate yourself for a short period of time. At this time, the middle of the door frame is completely transparent, standing so quietly on this wide lawn. There are even birds walking freely in the middle. At this moment, Wang Dakan and others looked up at the huge door frame. There was surprise in his eyes. Is this the legendary dimensional gate? Wang Dakan murmured to himself. Huang Dongdong on the side looked at Wang Dakan with a proud face. Silly guy, don't you know? This is the dimensional gate. As long as you put the corresponding spatial location coordinates, this dimensional gate will push the energy and create a connection point between the two worlds. The reason why our dimensional gate is so big is that it is a national dimensional gate built by the Dragon Kingdom with all its efforts. All major forces in the Dragon Kingdom can use it as long as they provide public coordinates and energy funds. In fact, some top forces also have their own dimensional gates built within them, but they are not as big as this. Don't underestimate it. This time, after all, many cultivation resources and materials that do not belong to our world have to be collected from other worlds through the dimensional gate. It can be said that any dimensional gate plus world coordinates represents the resource vein of a world. The standard configuration of any top power is to have at least one dimensional gate. What Huang Dongdong said is clear and logical. After all, he is also a sect organization and a direct disciple, so he still has this knowledge. Wang Dakan listened to Huang Dongdong's words and looked at Huang Dongdong with reverence. He held his bald head, blinked his big head, and looked at Huang Dongdong sincerely. Dongdong, you know so well, your fire sect must also have a dimensional gate, right? This sentence directly choked Huang Dongdong, who looked proud, and he looked at Wang Dakan with a black line on his face. Dakan, there are some questions you don't need to ask. Yi Ran, who was standing aside, looked at the leave note Lan Moyan gave him. I lowered my head and looked at it several times. Then he looked at Lan Moyan, who had a plain face. Finally, I couldn't help but ask. Are you sure that Teacher Li accidentally broke his leg when he went downstairs, so he can't take the exam temporarily? Lan Moyan nodded calmly. Then he pointed to the leave note in Yi Ran's hand. This is Teacher Li's leave note, with Teacher Li's fingerprint on it. Which good person's leave note was fingerprinted? Did you come up with this fake note from a good source? Yi Ran looked at Lan Moyan, and finally put away the leave note silently. There is indeed something wrong with the design of the stairs on the second floor. When I go back, I have to report it to the materials department. Subsequently, Yi Ran looked at Zhang Xiaoru, who just arrived at school yesterday. Zhang Xiaoru now, although she also has a lowly face paired with a simple long skirt. But now compared with before, the whole person no longer looked down without looking down. Not only that, originally, he was still slightly hunched over, but now he is much straighter than before. In short, although the appearance has not changed much, but the overall image and temperament of the person give people a feeling of extreme confidence. But, the only thing that's wrong is, just because Zhang Xiaoru compares with before, talk less, so much so that when Zhang Xiaoru came back on the first day, Yi Ran even thought that the free tavern taught her how to practice silent chanting. It wasn't until I communicated with Le Enjing that I found out. Zhang Xiaoru is now very talented in the curse of the night priest. Cultivation is too fast. As a result, the current power of the treatment and curse systems is extremely unbalanced. Zhang Xiaoru now, as long as you open your mouth, it's easy to lose control and curse people. It would be better if the level is higher than Zhang Xiaoru. If it were lower, the curse takes effect very easily. Some time ago, because of Zhang Xiaoru, many low-level drinkers in the free tavern were forced to give up drinking. The reason was that Zhang Xiaoru reminded them to be careful about liver damage caused by drinking alcohol. Then, everyone has cirrhosis of the liver at some point. In short, the Longguo branch of the free tavern no longer drinks any wine. A thermos cup of wolfberry nourishes the liver and protects the stomach. This disguise also set off a craze for drinking wolfberry in Tak. Currently, in Tak, now the biggest seller is wolfberry tea. The magical butterfly effect always stirs up things into chaos. Just when Yi Ran recalled Le Enjing's complaints, Wang Dakan walked to Zhang Xiaoru's side. Seeing that Zhang Xiaoru didn't speak much, Wang Dakan touched his bald head and looked for words. Long time no see, Xiaoru. Zhang Xiaoru looked at Wang Dakan and nodded friendly. Then he looked at Wang Dakan's bald head with some curiosity. Seemingly noticing Zhang Xiaoru's gaze, Wang Dakan touched his head in embarrassment. Xiaoru, you don't understand. The most fashionable thing in our school right now is bald heads. Many students in our class have shaved their heads. Let me tell you, I have also caught up with the fashion for once. How about this hairstyle, isn't it cool? Zhang Xiaoru still looked well behaved. Wang Dakan looked at Wang Dakan half understanding. Then, she smiled and said, handsome, I also think you, squad leader, are very suitable for a bald head. Your bald head looks really bright. Hearing this, Yi Ran was stunned. His eyes were directly locked on Wang Dakan's forehead. In an instant, Yi Ran could clearly see. Wang Dakan's newly grown hair sprouted. All fell off. It's just that the sprouts on the head are still too small. You can't tell it unless you look carefully. At least Wang Dakan didn't feel it. At this time, Wang Dakan was still thinking because he heard Zhang Xiaoru praise him. Smiling cheerfully. That's natural. Why is my head suddenly so cold? As time passed slowly, more and more people came to the open space of the playground. In a short while, the entire first grade team came to the grass. All participating teams, Basically, they are recuperating their energy, or they are communicating quietly within their own class. The entire lawn is relatively quiet. But it's different on the square outside the lawn. The place is full of cheering students. It's here. There is also a huge space-time screen. Can clearly see the participating team members in the waiting area. The students were chattering and discussing the participating team members with each other. For a time, the crowd is buzzing. Chapter 93. The Proud Master Huo. Look, it's coming. It's all coming. Oh my god, Teacher Li Shizong's class is really awesome. Zhang Dehua, the A-level firepower user who ranks first in the grade, leads the team. There are only 3 left: Shui Ling the A-level ice power user who ranks third in grade, the 5th grade A-level power user, Xu Zhuang, and the 6th grade Qingshan sword sect, Wang Ping. This lineup, Zhou Yu, Wang Zhaojun, Dian Wei, Li Bai is invincible. What a mess. I told you to do less farm work, but you just didn't listen. Li Shizong is indeed the uncrowned king among teachers. His teaching level is truly unrivaled. Yes, we still have quite a few A-level psychics among our freshmen, and these are the only ones that stand out. Look over there. Yinhai and the others have also come out. Zhang Haoran, Yinhai, Luo Guo, and Li Si are also 4 gold level ones. Zhang Haoran ranks second in the grade. Bad luck. Don't mention this class, it sounds disgusting. There is nothing to say, I can only say what teachers teach students. If this team wins the championship, it will really tarnish the principal's space ring. After hearing these words, the students in Han Qun's class. Everyone dares to be angry but dare not speak out. After what happened to Han Qun, their class has also become a rat crossing the street, everyone shouts and beats them. Followed by cowardice. However, the students in their class did follow Han Qun to bully others and fear others. I can only say that the boomerang hit me. Not unjust. The students were chattering and discussing. Each one of them argued for their favorite winning team and analyzed the situation. And the one sitting in the second seat at the back. It was the Platinum and Diamond Masters who had besieged the supplies department before, as well as some highly respected old teachers. These masters looked at each other with big eyes and small eyes. Still some people couldn't help but say, what does Mowu mean by this arrangement? He actually got a second seat. What do you mean? According to our level, we can't even get on the podium. It's just a freshman exam, isn't it? The supplies department at Mowu is really unlucky. I can't even figure out how to arrange the seats. There are so many seats on the rostrum, is it possible that there are so many extraordinary people who can come? These masters of platinum and diamonds complained. After all, as usual, in a school's freshman assessment, it's already a great achievement for them to be present. We have already arranged to sit on the rostrum. As a result, this time, there were no seats available on either side of the rostrum, and a second seat was specially set up for them. It really makes these old guys lose face. Some of the outspoken masters couldn't help but complain. But these are not the main point. After all, the goal of each of them is not to compete for a seat. Each and every one of them came for the legendary genius, coupled with the influence and strength of the principal of Mowu School. Therefore, these diamond and platinum masters who should have walked away just pinched their noses and accepted this arrangement. And in the middle of this table, Huo Wen just finished complaining about the arrangements of the material department with his good friends in the Straight Temper Alliance. Then he looked around. After seeing Li Shizong's figure, he just walked over in a swaggering manner. He laughed loudly. Mr. Li, long time no see. Although Li Shizong is teaching freshmen, but because of his old age and his only strength of gold, so I didn't become the leader of the team this time. Coupled with his prestige in the teaching community, so I was arranged to sit with these masters at this banquet. After hearing someone calling me, Li Shizong raised his head and looked up. After discovering that it was Huo Wen, the leader of the fire elements, he also bowed his hands politely. Master Huo, long time no see. Huo Wen looked at Li Shizong and said with a smile, Mr. Li has always cared about students. This is a fact that is obvious to all. Everyone, don't you think so? The masters on the side heard what Huo Wen said. Everyone responded with a smile. Yes, Mr. Li's responsible attitude towards students is a role model for us. Mr. Li's ability to bring out 5 diamond level grandmasters is not just luck. Mr. Li, after this freshman exam is over, I have to ask you to teach those silly boys in our sect. Faced with the flattery of the Diamond Masters, Li Shizong also responded in a friendly manner. Then he looked at Huo Wen with some confusion. He and Huo Wen were just acquaintances, not very familiar. I wonder what Huo Wen meant by suddenly raising his hand like this. Master Huo, that's ridiculous. Li Shizong responded to Huo Wen's compliment. Huo Wen grabbed Li Shizong's arm with both hands and helped Li Shizong sit down. This shows that two people who are close are like brothers. Mr. Li, you've met someone else. After all, the fate between us is quite strong. Li Shizong was a little confused when he saw Huo Wen say this. Master Huo, you have made me a little confused. Looking at Li Shizong's performance, Huo Wen's mouth was even more proud. Huang Dongdong, this kid is hiding well. He has not been discovered yet. He is indeed my chosen disciple. This meticulous mind has the style of my past. Huo Wen flattered himself while looking at Li Shizong mysteriously. Mr. Li, to be honest, one of your students is my disciple. Ah, this sentence shocked Li Shizong directly. Huo Wen looked at Li Shizong's shocked expression. He raised his mouth slightly and continued, my disciple is very naughty. He secretly came to school to train without my knowledge. Who knew that he would come to your class by chance? I heard that he was selected into the freshman assessment team this time. Quote. While Huo Wen was speaking, he took out the gift he had prepared from his arms. With a movement that others could not notice, stuffed it into Li Shizong's arms. Speaking of which, I have to thank you, Mr. Li. You taught me well, and made me, a bad disciple, change my character. This little gift is not a respect. Quote. Li Shizong listened to Huo Wen's words, and looked at the platinum-level fire crystal in his arms. And fell into deep thought. At this time, Li Shizong's mind was a mess. What the hell? Among his participating students, there are disciples of Huo Wen. That's not right. The resumes of the students who represented his class in the competition this time all clearly showed that they were recruited through the college entrance examination. But seeing Huo Wen's confident demeanor, and he gave him such a big gift right away, his originally determined mind became a little uncertain. Could it be that Huo Wen had been arranging for his students to become his disciples since the college entrance examination? But what was he trying to do? Just to see his shocked look right now. It is said that Huo Xingzong is eccentric, hot-tempered and eccentric. But this is too eccentric. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. Li Shuizong was puzzled. After a while, he slowly asked. May I ask, Master Huo, who is your disciple? Looking at Li Shuizong, who has trained 5 Diamond Masters. Huo Wen was extremely happy. The disciple he taught played the best teacher at the moment. Doesn't this mean that he played the master's teacher in disguise? Huo Wen was complacent and kept it a secret. Don't worry, Master Li, you will know when the assessment starts. Chapter 94 Extraordinary people gather together, coordinates are opened. Ding. When Huo Wen was selling things off, suddenly there was a clear ringtone in the air. The ringtone is not loud, but it can be clearly heard in everyone's ears. Ringtone seems to have the magic power to calm people's soul. All students' discussions stopped in an instant. When all the students fell silent, a light female voice came from the space. Students, this freshman exam is about to begin. Now let us welcome our principal, Lord Void, Mr. Bai Shu with warm applause. Damn it, the principal is here. Is our freshman exam so grand this time? The students clapped excitedly. This legendary figure personally attended their freshman assessment, which made them feel proud. With a burst of space distortion, Bai Shu, who was dressed in white, sat down with a kind smile on his face. Sitting down in vain. Those diamond and platinum masters who were not angry at first. My mood calmed down. After all, if the rostrum is empty, they are really not qualified to stand side by side with Bai Shu. Good fellow, we have invited all the venerables of the void here for a freshman exam. It's such a grand occasion. The white pillars are here, so I have nothing to say. Principal Bai still looks so fairy-like, and his style is still the same as before. That's what I said. But why do I feel that Principal Bai's eyes are a little bloodshot? That's for the country and the school. White Pillar Stone is worthy of being a role model for our generation. For a time, many diamonds and platinums unconsciously raised their respect for Bai Shu. However, there are always people who can discover Hua Dian. That's not right. Principal Bai is the only one sitting on the rostrum. Yes, there are too many places on this rostrum. Is it possible? It made everyone's hearts skip a beat. Suddenly, the host's voice came again. Now let us welcome Mr. Zhu Tianhua, director of the penalty department of Longguo, Taoist Chink, with warm applause. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of blue divine birds flew over and turned into a Taoist priest in front of the rostrum. This man has a hooked nose and piercing eyes. Facing Bai Shu, he smiled friendly and sat down. I wipe it. Director Zhu is here. He is a big boss in the real power department of the Dragon Kingdom, and he is also one of the core figures of the Zhu family, the top family. Before anyone could react, the host's voice sounded again. Now let us welcome Mr. Yue Huo, the Left General of the Dragon Kingdom's military headquarters and the iron-blooded marshal, with warm applause. As soon as he finished speaking, the seats on the rostrum were filled with blood. When the energy dissipated, a middle-aged man with a majestic face nodded to Bai Shu and sat down directly. This man was wearing a uniform, well-tailored, perfectly fitting his strong body, and the star emblem on the epaulettes was shining brightly, highlighting his military exploits and glory. This, a big shot from the military department, is here too. Before everyone had time to discuss, the host's voice sounded again. Now let us welcome you with warm applause, Flame King, and wish Mr. Duanjin. Then, on the seat next to Bai Shu, a raging flame began to rise. A strong man appeared on the chair. Now let us welcome with warm applause, Juyu Poison Master, Mr. Yin Shanhai. Now let us welcome with warm applause, Vajra Walker, Mr. Shi Watching. Following the host's introduction, whether they are students or those diamond and platinum masters present, completely stunned, in just a few moments. So there is always a long rostrum, full of extraordinary people. The students were so excited. Extraordinary beings that you can't even see in ordinary times. Now I have watched it all at once. Regardless of whether this assessment is exciting or not, this scene alone is worth adding to your resume in the future. After all, who can watch a game with more than a dozen extraordinary bosses on the same stage as a student? And at this moment, the masters were also completely quiet. Those masters who couldn't help but complain before, now they don't dare to speak out anymore. Now I beg them to sit on the rostrum, but they won't go. They discussed it privately. No, is this the assessment site for the first-year students in the Magic City? Where did this come from? Tomorrow the headlines will come out. More than a dozen extraordinary people will gather for the MOU freshman exam. I'm afraid something big is going to happen. Today is probably the safest day in the history of the Magic City. Damn it, at the National Friendly Consultation Conference I attended last year, there were not as many Chaofan people as there are today. Not to mention meetings, even when we were at war with the Foot Basin country, there were not as many people as there are today. The Foot Basin country is worthy of calling our extraordinary ones. Today is an eye-opener. Wait a minute, these extraordinary ones don't have the same goal as us, right? Someone's words awakened the dreamer. Immediately silenced all the diamond and platinum grandmasters in the second seat. Yes, it's not like extraordinary people are so full that they can come here to join in the fun. If you really come here to compete for geniuses like yourself, then they are still fighting over each other. On the podium, Bai Shu looked at the guests in a friendly manner and nodded. Now that everyone is here, then let's. Before Bai Shu finished speaking, a burst of smoke swept up. Then, a figure shrouded in smoke appeared in front of everyone. It was the Free Tavern, Le Wanyi's aunt, Lord of Grey Mist, Le Enjing. After looking at the visitor, all the extraordinary people frowned slightly. Liberty Tavern. Obviously, the arrival of the Lord of Grey Mist was unexpected by everyone. The Lord of Grey Fog was shrouded in smoke, and no one could see his true appearance clearly. She didn't say anything, she just took out an invitation. Afterwards, the Lord of Grey Mist naturally sat on the rostrum. Bai Shu took the invitation and looked at the Lord of Grey Mist again. After all, I never thought that I would be able to invite an extraordinary person to participate in my freshman year. Don't worry, I won't mess around today. The Lord of Grey Mist's head is still covered with thick fog. The voice was so loud that I couldn't hear the man or woman clearly. After Bai Shu heard the Lord of Grey Mist's promise, he didn't say much. When the other extraordinary beings saw the organizer Bai Shu's attitude, they naturally wouldn't say much. Bai Shu stood up and said to everyone, "Now that everyone is here, I announce that this year's Freshman Devil's Cave assessment has officially begun." As soon as Bai Shu finished speaking, then he raised his left hand. In an instant, a small black hole in space appeared in front of Bai Shu's left hand. From the black hole of space, a gem slowly floated out. On top of this gem, colorful brilliance shines on each other. Take a closer look. It gives people a sense of space confusion. These are the spatial coordinates of the Evernight Demon Cave. Chapter 95, The Spark of Civilization. As the energy of Baishu operates. The spatial coordinates of the Evernight Demon Cave. Glowing with colorful light, he ran straight towards the dimensional gate. Crack. After a crisp sound, the spatial coordinates perfectly fit on the doorpost of the dimensional door. At the moment of coincidence, the colorful light on the space coordinates burst out even more dazzlingly. And on the door frame of this dimensional door, those dense lines. With the spatial coordinates as the core, it begins to absorb the energy in the spatial coordinates without limit. Like a blood vessel filled with blood, it continues to spread. The dimensional gate that was originally motionless. Suddenly there was a colorful light. The magnificent and majestic momentum swept the entire venue. Buzz. A sound like radio waves sounded. In the empty door frame of the dimensional gate. The space began to become distorted. The dimensional door leading to the Eternal Night Demon Cave is officially opened. Teachers and students, whether they have met or not. At this moment, I was still shocked by the miraculous sight. The dimensional door of Eternal Night Demon Cave has been completely opened. Please take the return stone and coordinates and enter the venue as soon as possible. The light female voice sounded again. It directly awakened all the participating teachers and students who were still in shock. All the teachers and students entered one after another and submerged into the Yuan Gate. Under the rays of the sun, the backs of teachers and students were stretched into long and narrow shapes. Bai Shu, who was sitting on the rostrum, sighed slightly after seeing this scene. The back views of these teachers and students. It reminded him of the past. Those human martyrs who opened the door to dimensions before. In this way, one after another stepped into the dimensional gate. To conquer the unknown dimensional world. Fighting one after another, fighting bloody battles until death. For the prosperity of human civilization. To continue that. The fire of civilization. Bai Shu sighed inwardly and murmured to himself. The director of the punishment department, Taoist Chink, Zhu Tianhua, who was sitting on the other side of Bai Shu, looked at Bai Shu and smiled slightly. Beizushi, are you remembering the past? Bai Shu smiled when he heard Zhu Tianhua's question. It's just something I felt for a moment. Tianhua, do you remember that we were once part of the group that fought in the dimensional world and fought for human civilization? Zhu Tianhua smiled when he heard Bai Shu's question, raised his head slightly and said with a hint of memory. How can we not remember that you and I, and even everyone here, who didn't forcefully create the current prosperity of the human race from this dimensional gate? When I was fighting in the dimensional world, I almost died many times. Those life and death battles can be said to be fresh in my memory. Listening to Zhu Tianhua's memories, Bai Shu looked at Zhu Tianhua deeply. His eyes looked at the teachers and students who had entered the dimensional gate. He said lightly, as long as you haven't forgotten. In the demonic cave of eternal night, 3 dark monsters are holding a pile of fruits. They lined up and walked shakily towards a cave. Deep in this cave, a big man with a beard, lying on a bed of weeds. Cross your legs, boredly eating the fruit that the 3 monsters raised above their heads. Bah, it tastes really bad. After the big man finished speaking, he kicked the monster out directly. Stop being lazy and go pick me something delicious. The remaining 2 monsters ran out directly, fearing that they would also get kicked. Damn it, if it weren't for the fear of Mowu blocking the link point, why would the devil be willing to live there so long in advance? The bearded man looked at the empty cave with a sad expression on his face. There is no luster in the eyes. Yaoer, how long do you have until you come here? There's no internet here, and the food is terrible. Third uncle, I'm really having a hard time. Just when the bearded uncle was complaining, a bright light appeared above the Eternal Night Demon Cave. As the light flashes by, buzz, sound, in the sky above the Eternal Night Demon Cave, an invisible ripple spread. Moment, the heaven and earth shook. In the originally cloudless sky, a long and narrow crack appeared. From this narrow gap in time and space, countless light points flew in all directions and were located in various locations in the Evernight Demon Cave. The bearded man felt this wave of waves. He hurriedly turned over and ran out of the cave, looking at the scene of scattered light spots. There was light in his eyes. Ha 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 ha, damn, your grandpa and I are finally here. But in an instant, the excited bearded man was stunned. He suddenly thought of another question. His grandma's, there are so many light spots, which one is Yaoer? The bearded man cursed angrily and kicked the stones at his feet to vent his anger. Then he ran helplessly towards the nearest light point. Since you can't tell the difference, you have to find a stupid way to find them one by one. These scattered points of light. It was the participating teachers and students from Gaowu Academy in the demonic city who entered the dimensional gate one by one. After these light spots fall on the ground, all the teachers and students gradually appeared. Everyone mentioned their spirit of 120,000 points. One by one, they took up fighting stances in an instant. Some people defended, some observed, some set up their staffs. In short, everyone follows the previously drilled combat sequence, performs their duties, and waits for danger to come. And on the other side of the dimensional gate, on the lawn, I don't know when a huge screen made of void energy appeared out of thin air. As the screen flashed a few times, the picture slowly appeared. The huge screen was divided into 18 small screens. Each screen is a picture of a participating team. Yes, there is a picture. They went in. See it, see it. I saw our class. The boys in our class are so handsome. Damn, this perspective of our class is a bit strange. Who wants to see these big men looking up from a perspective? Hehe. Yuzu. Everything will only harm you. Goddess, my goddess. Use your whip to tie them up and whip them, quickly, quickly. Quote. The best thing about you is the competition screen. The teachers and students present were chattering and discussing. Most of the freshmen are watching battle scenes in the void dimension for the first time. So everyone is more excited. He raised his neck and frantically searched for pictures of his class. Wait, holy shit, a team has already encountered a monster. Which one? Which one? Screen 13, look at it. All the students present turned their attention to the screen. At this time in that screen, the 4 students stood with their backs to each other, looking around nervously. In the grass around them, there was a faint shaking. A pair of eyes shining with dark blue light, continuously twinkling in the grass. That look, it's like looking at prey. Chapter 96. Don't underestimate the danger of the Devil's Cave. The rustling sound became louder and louder. Slowly, a 2-meter-tall giant wolf slowly walked out from the grass. This giant wolf is completely black, with a faint blue light shining in its eyes. You can feel a flicker of dark attributes in the giant wolf's breath. It's the Netherworld Giant Wolf. A dark attribute monster special to the Eternal Night Devil's Cave. The sharp-eyed students outside the screen have already said the name of this giant wolf. Is this the Netherworld Giant Wolf? I heard that this giant wolf has dark attribute talents, and its magical powers include stealth and silence. A natural assassin. Although it is AD level ferocious beast, its combat power is at least 30% higher in the Night Demon's Cave. I don't know if these guys can do it. Don't worry, a giant ghost wolf will be fine. Quote. Who told you that the Netherworld Giant Wolf lives alone? The students' discussion has not yet finished. On the screen, in the grass behind the giant wolf, the sound came again. After the sound passed, slowly 1, 2, 3. In less than a moment, about 10 giant Netherworld wolves had already stood up. These giant wolves are very experienced in fighting. They stared at these 4 students, circling slowly. After a while, more than a dozen giant wolves stood scattered, surrounded these 4 students in the middle. All escape routes for these 4 students were cut off. After these giant wolf lineups are formed, the ghostly blue light in his eyes flourished. His bloody gaze fell unreservedly on the 4 people in front of him. The nose even moved forward unconsciously to smell something, as if appreciating the scent of meat on the prey that he is about to catch. These 4 students were led by a warrior dual-wielding swords. At this time, he looked at the movements of these giant wolves and instantly understood their intentions. So he shouted loudly, "Be careful, these beasts plan to cut off all our escape routes and then completely annihilate us here." Listening to his speech, the cute girl behind her looked at these giant wolves nervously and asked, "Then squad leader, what should we do?" Although this squad leader is also in actual combat for the first time, but the overall performance is still relatively calm. He looked at the giant wolves in front of him, analyzed and judged. Instantly discovered the weak points of these giant wolves. Then he pointed his big sword in that direction and said to his teammates behind him, "Follow me closely and we charge in this direction. I believe I can break through the encirclement." As he spoke, The squad leader held swords in both hands, and white holy light emitted from the giant sword. The whole person rushed directly towards the weakest netherworld wolf. B-level power, holy charge. The white holy light shrouded the squad leader's body, and the surging momentum carried the determination to kill. The target is pointed directly at the head of the giant ghost wolf. Roar. Following the low roar of the giant netherworld wolf, the eyes of many giant wolves flashed with blue light. Moment. The white light on this squad leader is a bit weaker. This is one of the innate magical powers of the netherworld wolf, silence. It is one of the cursed skills. Can offset or even interrupt all abilities being exerted. Seeing the white holy light on the squad leader's body about to disappear. Suddenly the pretty girl opened her hands slightly. The power of the curse on this squad leader was directly eliminated. B-level superpower, cleansing water. The white holy light rises again. Boom. The white giant sword flashing with holy light hit the head of the weak netherworld wolf firmly. The giant wolf was caught off guard and was hit in the head by the giant sword. Congratulations, Grade 1, Class 7, for killing a silver level monster and earning 100 points. The light female voice sounded again. The students outside the stadium cheered. Ha ha ha, it's so cool. This is much more exciting than the usual tests and acting battles. These giant ghost wolves look scary, but they actually don't look that hard to kill. There is still a huge gap between the intelligence of animals and humans. In the screen, these students from Class 5, Grade 1, killed the weakest netherworld wolf. The weakest point has been broken. If we continue to charge, it is 100% possible to escape from the siege. As a result, the squad leader who just rushed out stopped. Squad leader, why don't you run away? Listening to his partner's inquiry, the squad leader grinned. Why are we running away? I think our strength should be more than enough to deal with these giant ghost wolves. As he spoke, the squad leader raised his giant sword again, with holy light emitting from his body. Continue according to the formation we practiced before. We will cooperate with each other and kill all these demon wolves. This time we will take the first place in the grade. Seemingly inspired by the monitor, these students all nodded excitedly. Okay, monitor. The last 4 people fought back and once again entered the encirclement of the giant wolf. The 4 of them cooperated with ease. For a while, he was fighting back and forth with these giant wolves, never falling behind. It's just that these giant wolves took turns to come forward to test and harass, and no one of the giant wolves fought hard. Although the fighting went back and forth for a while, there were no casualties. Not only that, these giant wolves were fighting. There was a little human smile in his eyes. There is a strong sense of success of a treacherous plot. On the podium, after all, Chaofan watched the scene where the 4 students fought back. Some of them couldn't help but shook their heads. Even Bai Shu sighed slightly. Still too young. Come on, hold on. Those points will be ours sooner or later. The squad leader continued to encourage his teammates. The giant wolf fought with them back and forth, without hurting him at all. This made the squad leader's self-confidence reach an explosive level. Just when all the team members were looking forward to the points with confidence. Sudden, behind the squad leader, a giant black wolf appeared without warning. This giant wolf is completely black and about 4 meters tall. The entire figure is more than double the size of the previous giant ghost wolves. How can there be no leader in a group living in groups? This is the wolf king of these giant ghost wolves. Junheng has mastered the second talent of the netherworld wolf, the hidden wolf king. Before anyone could react, the wolf king had opened his bloody mouth and bit directly on the squad leader's neck. The holy light couldn't resist this amazing biting force. He was bitten to pieces by the wolf king's mouth. Seeing that the giant wolf's teeth had touched its neck, the 2 teachers who were hiding suddenly appeared directly. I used my own abilities to fight off these giant wolves. The squad leader, who realized it later, was so frightened that he collapsed on the ground. Looking at the departing figures of those giant wolves, he saw the hateful look in his teacher's eyes. At this time, he slowly lowered his head. HMPH, you rush forward in a hurry. The teacher snorted coldly and disappeared from the spot. Class 7 of the first grade were wiped out and a total of 100 points were obtained. The cold female voice sounded again. At this moment, all the students on the lawn were silent. There was more or less a hint of fear in his eyes. This squad leader is right to be greedy for credit and rush into advancement. But the students didn't think about these low-level monsters at all. There is even a strategic idea of showing weakness to the enemy and killing them secretly. This completely shocked these students who had not yet left school. Let me ask you about that moment just now. If it were you, would you be able to survive? Most people seem to think the answer is no. And the situation that the squad leader faced. This is the danger they will face after graduation. At this moment, everyone's hearts are heavy. On this road, they had a concept of life and death for the first time. This is also the first time that I have some understanding of the cruelty inside the dimensional gate. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 97 Class 1 is so strong, Class 2 should be no worse. The 6th grade class was wiped out and a total of 100 points were obtained. Class 8 of the 1st grade was wiped out, and a total of 10 points were obtained. All 10 classes in the 1st grade were wiped out, and a total of 300 points were obtained. Time passed minute by minute. The cold female voice kept transmitting assessment information reports. It seems that none of them are good news. Every piece of information hits every student's heart very heavily. In this short period of less than half an hour, nearly 8 classes have been wiped out and withdrawn from this demon cave hunting assessment. They were eliminated in various ways. There's hunting, there's stupor, there's suicide, there's bondage. The students even saw part of the class assessment team on the screen. Because the teacher didn't help in time enough. As a result, some students taking assessments were seriously injured. Several students were already killed on the spot. The scene of blood, serious injuries, and death stimulated the nerves of all the students present. Even some timid students started sobbing quietly. After all, these scenes in front of me are the journey I will embark on after graduation. At this moment, the flowers in the ivory tower finally felt the storm of the outside world. Whether it is all the masters and extraordinary masters on the rostrum or on the 2nd floor. After seeing this scene, everyone's face was expressionless, no one was moved. Because this is the meaning of the demon cave assessment. These young boys can only face the great horror between life and death. Only then can you truly temper your brave heart. Only then can they truly be qualified to become the seeds for the continuation of human civilization. Only then are they qualified to be supported and practiced by those humans who have no supernatural powers or cultivation talents and can only work hard. Early exposure to these facts is a good thing for students like them. Congratulations, Grade 1, Class 1, for killing 4 gold level monsters and earning 4,000 points. Congratulations, Grade 1, Class 1, for killing 12 silver level monsters and earning 1,200 points. Congratulations, Grade 1, Class 1, for killing 36 bronze level monsters and earning 360 points. Suddenly the cold female voice sounded again. This series of information broadcast directly shocked the silent students present. Everyone's eyes were once again looking at the picture of Grade 1 and Class 1 on the screen. Class 1 of this grade. It is the class of Li Shizong, who holds the title of Grand Master. At this time, the assessment team of Class 1, Grade 1. Standing on a meadow, on the grass, still braving the blazing fire. A few chickens that were about to be burned to ashes could be vaguely seen in the flames. These chickens are huge, about as tall as a person. Oh no, is this the home of the Shadow Black Chicken? Shadow Black Chicken, B-level monster. I heard it is extremely powerful. When the teacher gave the explanation at the beginning, he also said that if you encounter this group, you should run away quickly. I didn't expect Class 1 of Grade 1 to end up in this place. I didn't expect that they actually wiped out the Shadow Black Chicken. Awesome. At this time, Zhang Dehua, the A-level flame superpower who led the 1st grade team, looked at the Shadow Black Chicken that was burned to ashes. Squad leader, it's all done. Behind him, Xu Zhuang, an A-level power user, was carrying a sack of black chicken gold. Said with a smile, it's a big harvest this time, we've got a whole bunch. Shui Ling'er on the side also said with a smile. Zhang Dehua looked at the two of them, and then said with some confusion, where is Wang Ping? Xu Zhuang on the side pointed helplessly in the direction of the chicken coop. Wang Ping said he wanted to eradicate the weeds. Aren't they all killed? What is he doing? Zhang Dehua asked again in confusion. Xu Zhuang looked at Zhang Dehua with some embarrassment and said, Wang Ping is going to shake all those black eggs away before leaving. After hearing this, Zhang Dehua couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. He held it back for a long time and said, Qingshan sword sect is famous for its ruthlessness, as it should be. On the second stage, at this time, Li Shizong straightened his waist and raised his head quite a bit. After all, when everyone is defeated, the students he taught stood up. Not only that, he also had a beautiful injury-free battle. This achievement is truly something to be proud of. For a time, the masters who were familiar with Li Shizong all responded. Mr. Li, your style is still the same as before. Awesome, Mr. Li, it looks like he is going to create a few more great masters. Mr. Li will know if there is one as soon as he takes action. This teaching level is simply incomparable to other classes. Mr. Li, I, the Qingshan sword sect, owe you a great debt of gratitude. The shouts of the masters made Li Shizong look bright. But I still responded humbly. But Huo Wen, who was sitting next to Li Shizong, was confused. What's going on? This is Li Shizong's class. Where is Huang Dongdong? For a moment, Huo Wen had a bad feeling in his heart. Seemingly seeing Huo Wen's dullness, Li Shizong asked tentatively. So, Master Huo, your direct disciple is not classmate Zhang Dehua, right? Hearing Li Shizong's inquiry, Huo Wen's mouth twitched. TMD, it seems that I really made a mistake. What should I do? All the gifts have been given away. Isn't this little bastard in Li Shizong's class? At this time, Huo Wen was naturally embarrassed to ask for the gift back, so he could only smile awkwardly. Then he asked in a low voice. Mr. Li, there seems to be a mistake. My scoundrel's name is Huang Dongdong. Have you heard of it? After hearing the words Huang Dongdong, Li Shizong's eyes widened. Are you sure your apprentice is called Huang Dongdong? Huo Wen nodded. Of course, and according to my disciple's reply, he should be in a good class. Listening to Huo Wen's words, Li Shizong took a deep breath. Then he pointed at the top of the screen. Master Huo, take a look and see if that student from Class 1 and Class 2 is your beloved disciple. After all, the class teacher has seen the list of assessments. Li Shizong naturally remembered that there was a student named Huang Dongdong in Class 2 of the first grade. At this time, Huo Wen followed Li Shizong's hand and counted. Naturally, I saw a short figure. Why is he bald? Take a closer look. No, this is my beloved disciple. He said loudly. Yes, that is my disciple. Huo Wen grinned and said. I have a sense of deja vu when I introduce my son to my relatives to attend the Spring Festival Gala during the New Year. Since the first grade class is so strong, I think the level of Class 1 and Class 2 should be pretty good too. My beloved disciple still makes me look good. Mr. Li, the second class should be pretty good too. Huo Wen was still complacent. And Li Shizong looked at Huo Wen. His expression was complicated, and he was a little unable to open his mouth. Chapter 98. Don't look at me, he really has a high school diploma. Mr. Li, seeing Li Shizong not speaking. Huo Wen also stretched out his hand and shook it in front of Li Shizong's eyes. Li Shizong looked at Huo Wen speechlessly. Seeing that Huo Wen insisted on asking, Li Shizong had no choice but to speak clearly. To be honest, Master Huo, Class 2 of the first grade is the last class in our freshman year. Boom. Li Shizong's words were like a bolt from the blue, making Huo Wen burnt on the outside and tender on the inside. He pointed at the screen and asked in disbelief. What did you say? Li Shizong looked at Huo Wen and couldn't bear it. Maybe your beloved disciple just wants to rest for a while. As a child, he will always be a little naughty. Li Shizong said as he said, while reluctantly touching the platinum-grade fire crystal core in his pocket. I am hesitating whether to send back the platinum-level fire crystal core that Huo Wen gave me. Puff. Among the second seats, someone suddenly couldn't help laughing. Who's laughing? Huo Wen was like a lit firecracker. Turn your head, eyes scanning like a radar. However, everyone he looked at had a suppressed smile in their eyes. The snickering Grandmaster was nowhere to be found. For a time, he sat down again dejectedly. I thought Huang Dongdong was holding back a big baby, but who would have thought that it was a big baby? When I think about how loudly I asked Li Shizong to answer just now. Huo Wen's old face turned red. At this time, he was sitting on pins and needles, and his nose was a little red with anger. He looks a bit like a famous Gotham comedian now. And inside the screen, Yi Ran's team landed on Yongye Mountain. Unlike other teams, Wang Dakan and the others walked too leisurely. Because here, don't tell them that the monster hasn't been seen yet. I didn't even see a few ants on the ground. It seemed like they were the only ones in the entire Yangye mountain range. It's so quiet. The four of them just walked on the road of Yangye mountain. Wandering around. Other classes are going through a life and death struggle. And their class was like an outing in the wild. After a while, Huang Dongdong couldn't bear it anymore. He took a deep breath. Angrily, his dantian was filled with anger and he shouted. Anyone. Huang Dongdong was so loud that the surrounding vegetation shook continuously. Respond to yourself. Only my own echo. At this time, Huang Dongdong couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. I have just tempered the Samadhi True Fire Golden Body, and I really plan to put it to good use. But coming here, not even a ghost can be seen. A kind of depression that there is no place for heroes gathers in my heart. Huang Dongdong was so angry that his mouth bulged. Dongdong, stop shouting. No one will break your throat if you shout. Do you know why? Wang Dakan looked at the angry Huang Dongdong and said with a smile. Huang Dongdong looked at Wang Dakan in confusion. Why do you think so? Wang Dakan said. Because, the Devil's Cave only produces monsters and not humans, hee. Wang Dakan just finished speaking. The other three couldn't help but shudder. Huang Dongdong looked at Wang Dakan speechlessly. Dakan, this joke is not funny. Oh, really? I still thought about it for a long time. Wang Dakan innocently touched his bald head. The four outing teams continued to patrol the mountains. Yi Ran, who was observing in the dark, looking at the situation of his team. He also frowned slightly. It shouldn't be. Yangye Mountain Ridge was one of the permanent residences of Yangye Demon God in Yangye Demon Cave. It is the most spiritual place in this world. Not only that, after a long period of transformation and upgrading by the eternal Night Demon God, it can be said that Yangye Mountain Ridge has the most amount of demonic energy and spiritual energy. Even if some ordinary creatures stay in this place for a long time, they will also evolve and upgrade unconsciously. Become a monster. But now, why can't my team touch a single monster? For a time, Yi Ran looked at Lan Moyan. Did he take action? Lan Moyan felt Yi Ran's gaze extremely keenly. He waved his hand symbolically, indicating that it was not. Good guy, are you too lazy to hide now? Seeing Lan Moyan's movements, Yi Ran complained speechlessly about this nation-killing extraordinary person. Then, Yi Ran frowned. Since it wasn't Lan Moyan who took action, why aren't there any monsters here? When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. For a time, he remembered the last words Duobao said when he left him. It's strange, fellow Taoist, how come this eternal night devil's cave gives Pindao a different feeling than before? Looking at the picture of Class 1 and Class 2. Others don't think it's anything. It's just that all the people on the podium couldn't sit still. At this moment, all the extraordinary beings outside the field looked at each other, and I looked at you. The shock in his eyes could no longer be hidden. Especially Zhu Tianhua beside Bai Shu, his eyes were not only shocked, his eyebrows were slightly wrinkled. He adjusted his mood, turned his head and asked Bai Shu uncertainly. Who is that? Bai Shu nodded helplessly. Yes, it's Lan Moyan himself. Looking at Bai Shu's confirmation, all the extraordinary people took a breath of cold air. Because Lan Moyan is relatively young and doesn't like to attend big occasions. Many ordinary people below the extraordinary don't know this giant. But as extraordinary people, how could they not have seen the offensive heavy weapon, the sword to kill the throat, the style of the Dragon Kingdom sword god? Bai Zushi, is it a bit illegal? Zhu Tianhua frowned. If Lan Moyan was present, many things would be difficult to handle. Bai Shu turned his head and looked at Zhu Tianhua helplessly. Don't look at me like that. Lan Moyan's age and academic qualifications fully meet the recruitment restrictions of the Dragon Kingdom Magic and Martial Arts University. I have no reason to stop him from going to school. Bai Shu pondered for a moment, and couldn't help but add a complaint. Really, who would have thought that he actually had the exam results and high school diploma? Since he has both the high school diploma and the exam results, with Lan Moyan's talent standard, do you think the talent standard of the special recruitment can stop this Dragon Country sword god? Bai Shu's words made Zhu Tianhua choke for a while. After thinking for a long time, he couldn't think of a reason to refute. The expressions of the extraordinary people behind him were also a little weird. Although Lan Moyan met all the requirements, but a national-level extraordinary person went to be a freshman. It doesn't seem right no matter how you look at it. After hearing what Bai Shu said, Zhu Tianhua also pondered for a while. Put it aside. After all, he is a top boss, and he still has some skills to cultivate his chi. Since there has been a change, then he can only deal with it as it happens. In another place in the Eternal Night Demon Cave, a tiny space crack opened, and a group of tall creatures walked out of it. These tall creatures, with enchanting figures and revealing clothes, are human-like but not human. If someone sees them, they will definitely exclaim, "When will the succubus be born in the Eternal Night Demon Cave?" These succubus twisted their bodies in an extremely exaggerated way. And the leading succubus spoke in human language. "Go to the Eternal Night Ridge as soon as possible, there are still many things to arrange." "Okay, Doll Demon King. Call me sister." "Okay, Doll Demon King sister." Quote. Quote. Who would have thought that the leader of these succubus is actually a diamond-level demon king? Chapter 99. Everyone, please step back and watch my performance. I can't stand it anymore. Let's go outside the mountains. After walking for a long time, Huang Dongdong finally couldn't bear the loneliness. He glanced at Wang Dakan and said. Wang Dakan said with some embarrassment, "Is this stable?" Huang Dongdong retorted. "What is stability? Is it stability if you don't kill anyone? When the assessment is over, other classes will have tens of thousands of points. Are we going to compete with nothing?" After hearing what Huang Dongdong said, Wang Dakan was a little shaken in his heart. Huang Dongdong struck while the iron was hot and added another finishing blow. "Dakan, I believe you don't want Teacher Yi to be eliminated from last place. Don't worry, we are just hunting near the mountains, why don't we just run around?" Listening to Huang Dongdong's words, Wang Dakan felt that this was the truth. He then turned his head and looked at Zhang Xiaoru and Lan Moyan. "I think what Huang Dongdong said makes sense, what do you think?" Zhang Xiaoru remained taciturn. "I listened to the squad leader." Lan Moyan also nodded in agreement. Wang Dakan saw that everyone agreed. So he said, "Okay, then let's leave Yongye Mountain and earn points for the teacher." Subsequently, the four people left Yongye Mountain Ridge very quickly. Yi Ran looked at this scene in the secret place, shook his head helplessly, and then followed. The four of them had just left the mountain. Roar. A huge roar directly attracted the attention of four people. Before the four people turned around, a huge orangutan has jumped in front of the four people. Powerful impact. It shook so hard that the ground trembled 3 times. This orangutan is extremely fierce. All white hair. There seemed to be lightning flashes in his eyes. When a pair of giant hands knocked on the chest, it made a sound like thunder. The shock makes one's eardrums numb. Holy crap, is this the thundering giant ape? A-level monster. This is not just an A-level beast, this is one of the kings among A-level beasts. It is the absolute overlord in the A-level lightning field. Take a good look, the hair on that giant ape's head has begun to turn into lightning. This giant ape has reached the edge of enlightenment. Worry. In other words, this is a half-step platinum thundering giant ape. It's over. What kind of luck did this second team have to encounter this kind of existence when they came out of Yongye Mountain? I heard that Class 2 only has one leading teacher this time. Is it Teacher Yi? I heard that I beat that platinum beast before, so I shouldn't have any big problem dealing with this giant ape. It's hard to say. I heard that defeating Han Kyun was a trick, because Han Kyun's superpowers couldn't be used on Teacher Yi. It's not certain when facing this monster. Teacher Yi's current strength should not be as good as the thundering giant ape in front of us. If we can't take advantage of it, and even if Teacher Yi can beat him, it's just barely. How can he ensure the safety of his students? Pinch the stone back to the city. It's better to get 0 points than to die. The students looked at the contestants from Class 2 with pity. Even Huo Wen looked at the screen worriedly. Although he was a little angry at Huang Dongdong's choice, he was still worried about Huang Dongdong's safety after all. The thundering giant ape roared crazily at the 4 tiny creatures in front of him. There seems to be some anger and intrusion into one's own territory. The murderous look in his eyes was undisguised. And the 4 tiny creatures in front of me. Not like the usual creatures. He trembled and lowered his head obediently. Facing my own roar. Instead, they all looked at me with interest. Even the shortest little thing started to move his fists and feet eagerly. Roar. The thundering giant ape roared again in disbelief. This time, the smallest dwarf Winter Melon. He dug his ears disdainfully. Chao actually gestured his middle finger towards himself. Huang Dongdong, what are you doing? Put your hands down. After Huo Wen saw this scene outside the court, his heart almost reached his throat. In his opinion, Huang Dongdong's strength has just reached the golden stage. He is not even the slightest bit different from the thundering giant ape who has begun to realize enlightenment. Coupled with the powerful talent of Thunder Giant Ape as an A-level monster, Huo Wen was afraid that his apprentice would be killed in one encounter. At this time, Huang Dongdong naturally couldn't hear his master's call. After he gestured with his middle finger, he turned his head and said to everyone, "Everyone, please step back and watch my performance." Hearing what Huang Dongdong said, all the teachers and students outside the venue were stunned. What's going on? Is this little man planning to fight alone? Are you overestimating your capabilities? Good guy, this is a half-platinum monster, and it is one of the top beings in A-level. Is he crazy? Isn't this little guy really about the same strength as this thundering giant ape? Are you thinking shit? With this kind of strength, you can teach class 1 and class 2. Quote. This kid is so crazy. What are you crazy about? When the time comes, the thundering giant ape will destroy the hero's dream with 3 hammers. I'm afraid that it's not just the heroic dream that will be shattered. Don't worry, he's not the team leader. I'm sure no one will go crazy with him. Huo Wen looked at this scene and his heart was completely in suspense. He also murmured to himself, comforting himself. Yes, you're right, it's okay if one person is messing around. Others will definitely not do it. However, in the picture, after Wang Dakan and the other 3 heard Huang Dongdong's request for them to retreat, nodding thoughtfully, then he said to the other 2 people, "Everyone stand apart, step back 100 meters, and surround this ape." As a result, the 3 of them retreated several hundred meters in different directions. They are at odds with each other. Surround Huang Dongdong and Thunder Giant Ape in the middle. The huge venue was vacated for Huang Dongdong to perform. At this moment, Huo Wen's hanging heart completely died. No, is there such a person as a team leader? Dear disciple, what disease are you suffering from? Didn't you say that you should guard against arrogance and impatience? Is that how you quit? If it weren't for the fact that after the space door is opened, it cannot be crossed again in a short time. At this moment, Huo Wen almost wanted to dive in. For a moment, Huo Wen closed his eyes and couldn't bear to look at the picture anymore. After Li Shizong saw this scene, finally he gritted his teeth. He took out the fire crystal core from his trouser pocket. It was stuffed into Huo Wen's hand. Master Huo, if you think about it a little more liberally, maybe your beloved disciple can escape. In the picture, Huang Dongdong watched Wang Dakan and others retreat with satisfaction. He walked up to the giant ape alone, looking at the thundering giant ape that is 100 heads taller than me. I started my warm-up exercises seriously. The thundering giant ape at this time, looking at the tiny dwarf winter melon in front of me, completely confused. What happened? Why isn't this little thing afraid of himself? Thinking of this, the thundering giant ape felt that his majesty had been insulted. He was about to roar. Then he heard a roar louder than his own. It's so noisy, try yelling at me again. Although Huang Dongdong is small, but this roar used the power of Dantian, directly suppressed the thunder giant ape. The thundering giant ape just waited blankly for Huang Dongdong to finish warming up. Huang Dongdong looked up at the huge creature. The corners of his mouth raised slightly. What a great sparring partner. Then I'm not welcome. After saying that, Huang Dongdong's eyes were stern. The temperature in the air suddenly increased. Countless fire elements began to expand and gather crazily. Suddenly, a loud shout exploded out of thin air. Hyrone. This is a bad job. If I complain about it myself, you can't complain about it. Chapter 100. The little monkey is really powerful. Now it's my turn as your master. As the sound exploded, the fire element floating in the space became completely violent. The originally cloudless and clear sky has been rendered red. The violent fire elements gathered crazily towards Huang Dongdong. In a split second, Huang Dongdong's entire body was wrapped in the fire element. At this moment, Huang Dongdong seemed like a burned red golden ball. The temperature of the entire space suddenly rose. This surging heat, the thundering giant ape standing in front of Huang Dongdong was the one who felt it the most. At this time, the thunder giant ape felt that his hair had a faint burning sensation. The thundering giant ape looked at the small golden red ball in front of him. The beast's intuition allows it to keenly feel the presence of the golden red ball, constantly exuding a sense of threat that can harm lives. Roar. I don't know if it's out of inner fear or anger at being provoked. The thundering giant ape roared towards the golden red ball. With the roar of the thundering giant ape, all the hairs on its body stood up straight like steel needles. Countless electric currents, or like thunder dragons, began to wrap around the huge body of the thundering giant ape. Especially the tuft of white hair on the head of the thundering giant ape. As the thundering giant ape breathes and breathes, the terrifying thunder and lightning elements are constantly flashing. It has vaguely turned into the shape of thunder and lightning. The surging lightning factor. With the thundering giant ape as the center, it is constantly expanding outwards. Crazy friction with the explosive fire element. For a time, the two parties were evenly matched. The whole space, taking the midpoint between Huang Dongdong and Thunder Giant Ape as the dividing line. Divided into two colors, one red and one blue. The violent elements tear and rub. Thunder and lightning, fierce flames. It's like a scene of purgatory. Outside the screen, the students looked at this scene in shock. There hasn't been a fight yet, but the momentum alone is enough to fight against the air. Awesome. With this posture, even if you can't defeat the thundering giant ape, at least you can escape without any problem. Whoa Ri, I thought this guy was just showing off, but I didn't expect he is really capable. Who is that little man? How could he be so powerful? Damn it, I've never heard of this little man's name. When did we hide such a monster in our freshman year? On the second stage, many diamond masters looked at the scene on the screen with expressions of surprise. Huang Dongdong's strength. To be able to compete with this thundering giant ape. This also means, at such a young age, he is already at the half-platinum level. What kind of monster exists? At this moment, the look they looked at Huo Wen was no longer so ridiculing. On the contrary, it has begun to have a hint of jealousy. Damn it, where did this old man get such a good seedling? And at this moment Huo Wen. The shock in my heart was no less than any of them. What the hell, have I traveled through time? In Huang Dongdong's mind, isn't it just in the late golden stage? Why haven't we seen each other for a few days? Already able to compete with half-step platinum monsters. Li Shizong, standing next to Huo Wen, looking at the screen as well. Then he looked at the platinum-grade fire crystal core that had been placed in Huo Wen's hand. My heart is bleeding. MD, it's still early. He looked at Huo Wen with some resentment. Now he has some doubts that Huo Wen wants to get the crystal core back. I acted very nervous on purpose. For a moment, Li Shizong cupped his hands, looked at Huo Wen and said angrily. Sect Master Huo's expression is really on point, he deceived even the old man. With such a monster seedling, what does Sect Master Huo have to worry about? Huo Wen looked at Li Shizong and touched his head awkwardly. Ah, I can't. I really didn't know that Brat's strength has reached this level. Listening to Huo Wen's words, Li Shizong was furious. Why, what else does Master Huo have to hide now? Huo Wen has a straight temper. Seeing Li Shizong say this, he started to speak anxiously. Really, when I kicked him out, that kid was only in his golden stage. Hearing this, all the masters present shook their heads. The golden period, what a ghost, Li Shizong said angrily. Is it possible that Master Huo wants to tell us that your beloved disciple suddenly rose to his current strength after studying in that salted fish class? A word to wake up the dreamer. Li Shizong's angry words immediately stunned Huo Wen. For a moment, he recalled the messages Huang Dongdong had left to him before. No way. In the screen, seeing that the thundering giant ape was unable to suppress the short winter melon in front of him. For a time, beating his chest angrily, roar. With the roar of the thundering giant ape, blue-white thunder and lightning poured directly into the body of the thundering giant ape. The thundering giant ape was originally tall and fierce. At this time, it was 3 times bigger. Especially those thick and powerful arms. With the blessing of the power of thunder. Eternally filled with terrifying energy. Wherever it passes, there will be thunderous explosions. Innate magical power, the fury of thunder. Roar. The thundering giant ape stared at the golden red fireball in front of him. The huge figure disappeared directly. The next second, the thundering giant ape flew directly above Huang Dongdong. It moves downward, with the fist as the head, carrying the fury of thunder. Like a thunder dragon coming into the world, it smashed down towards Huang Dongdong. Surging power. Let all the surrounding trees break. Careful. Outside the court, Huo Wen's heart was thinking about Huang Dongdong in the middle of the screen. I couldn't help but exclaimed. Boom. The thundering giant ape's fist hit Huang Dongdong's head directly. A tremendous strength. The whole ground trembled. Countless amounts of soil surged. Thunder and lightning spread wantonly. The whole land turned into scorched earth. The traces of cracks are centered on Huangdongdong. Split in all directions, it formed a terrifying spider web with a radius of nearly 500 meters. At this moment, whether a student or a master, they all looked at the rising dust attentively, anxiously waiting for the result of the violent attack. And in the center of that scorched earth, the golden red energy began to expand without limit. The surging fire element raised flames on the cracked ground. It's like a totem of the devil coming to the world. Good boy. Suddenly, on the rostrum, Flame King, Zhu Duanjin jumped up and stood up. The nation-killing extraordinary person shouted excitedly. The voice is loud. The shock made everyone's eardrums hurt. Especially the unabashed desire of fire. Some of the weaker students present felt a burning pain in their bodies. Old Zhu, please be patient. Bai Shu, who was on the side, counted helplessly. The invisible power of space. Isolating Zhu Duanjin's momentum. Zhu Duanjin heard what Bai Shu said. Turned his head. Eyes widened. Don't be impatient, old man Bai, I haven't settled the accounts with you the last time you trapped me. Now my successors have appeared. How do you want me to stay calm? As soon as Zhu Duanjin finished speaking, the dust and fog in the screen also dispersed. At this moment, the thundering giant ape still pointed his fist downward. But the fierceness in his eyes is not there. Some are just surprised and confused. At this moment, under the fist of the thundering giant ape, a small arm supported upward. He actually held the thundering giant ape like a small hill above his head. The little monkey is so energetic. Now it's your turn, sir. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.